my end. Perfect. We're live. Holy smokes. 500 I think. It's full bars. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go with that. Right now, who's... Oh, you're on Jasmin. Yeah, there you go. All right. We're back, folks. We're back. The totally different stream. So yeah, the one that you're on is probably not the one we're using anymore. We are on a completely new link. At this point, we're learning that there's just some type of weird thing that happened across YouTube for whatever reason. I don't know if it was a widespread internet issue or if it was a YouTube issue. Either way, we're back with you, and the lag is hopefully all gone for good at this point. That was weird, Reg. I was starting to see ghosts.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was throwing myself off, man.
It was just like reading the chat and hearing Northern Perspective is having trouble. Hearing that Juno News is having trouble. Jasmin actually had a segment on Juno News that she was supposed to jump out for, and she couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Like, just wild that this is happening.
The timing.
You know, it's... like I said, I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on, but it's really weird that it was happening right now.
Yeah, it was the talk that we're talking about was like, okay, if it's an internet service issue and it's the traffic is really high, it's an election night, everyone's on the internet, everyone wants to watch what's going on. There's so many different shows, so many things that are going on. What's happening out here? Well, COVID had no issues. Everyone was streaming HD 4K on Netflix during COVID. Internet was just fine then. But this felt weird. This felt weird.
It was just weird that it was like all these conservative creators.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see if like liberal creators were also facing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So is it only the conservative creators that have a larger presence on YouTube that saw this go down? Mm-hmm. Was it all political podcasters that went down, you know, regardless of side?
Yep.
Because like there's a couple things there. It's like if there was something wrong with YouTube for this massive event, you know, that would definitely push people towards mainstream media on cable, which seemed to be working fine. So
yeah,
it's just interesting. I'm not saying one way or the other. It's just, it raises a lot of eyebrows and a lot of questions.
100%. I'm going to ask you a quick question here, Brendan. Do you want to see if the eye is, if you can turn the eye on the poll tracker there and make sure it's on? Oh, interesting, because it is not on our end. Weird. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. Weird games are happening here, folks. Weird games are happening. Well, we will update you via vocally and let you know what's going on. So after all the weirdness, we are now into Nova Scotia, and they are reporting it's still a 23-10 Liberal lead. No one else has got seats. Surprise, surprise. We are in the Maritimes. No one else is voting for anything else but Liberal or Conservative at this point. And let me just make sure I zoom in here for you folks. Actually, Brendan, if you want to hit me with, if you want to go to my screen, that actually might make things a little bit better. Perfect. Awesome. So right now we're seeing, obviously we have kind of these red ridings, but a lot of it went blue in Newfoundland, which is interesting. Then we moved over to Atlantic Canada, or moved over to Nova Scotia. And obviously we had Cape Breton that's gone very red. Jamie Baptiste. Looks like a chicken is working so far. And then you have Central Nova. This is a big one. This one I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
This is Sean Fraser's riding that he is currently losing. Baby, that looks good.
I know.
I love that.
I love that a little bit.
Yeah.
I am surprised seeing Rick Perkins riding though in South Shore.
Yeah.
I know he was doing really well. So the fact that we're seeing red there, it's interesting. I wonder what we'll see end up being the case for that.
Yeah. He's losing by 416 votes right now. Halifax is obviously red. Cole Harbour is currently red. Sackville's red. That's what Cole Harbour. Oh yeah, Darren Fisher's smoking it with over 4,000 votes.
Go to my riding there, Halifax West.
Halifax West is getting smoked.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah, Batherson didn't have a great ground game, unfortunately.
No, his community presence wasn't strong, and unfortunately, with Lena Diab, she has name recognition in that community. So I figured that was the way it was going to go. But
I mean, it doesn't help when people are ripping signs off your posts in your front yard, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say nothing about that. Am I?
yeah, exactly.
Cumberland Colchester is going blue for Stephen Ellis. He couldn't beat. Actually, no, that's a different person. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But then, we got Ken McDonald. PEI is just gone full blown red.
New Brunswick is
like half and half.
Yeah, but you'll see in the cities, you'll see that.
Yeah,
going red.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As we get closer, that red. Tobik, Oromocto is red.
Yeah, my parents' riding went blue, which is the expected.
Yeah,
so that would be Rob Moore.
Yeah, and then so Atlantic Canada, we are looking at a very fascinating time. It's actually kind of Conservatives picked up what they needed to pick up in Atlantic Canada. I think if this keeps the way it's going, last time Atlantic Canada went like full red.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that some blues, I think that's a win for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives at this point.
And Mr. Roberts says, or Robbers, sorry, this is a small donation for the text that got the stream up again. Have a couple coffees.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, it cost me $30 to get the stream up again, so I appreciate it. Whatever can help, I'll take it. So honestly, at this point, there was 6 ridings in Newfoundland, 5 or 6 ridings in Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm.
So if we kind of take those off the table, that puts us down to it's 33 ridings in Nova Scotia. So that makes that's a full 30. Actually, no, sorry, there was 33 in all of Atlantic Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, so that puts us down to 27-ish, 28. That's a fair showing for Atlantic Canada right there.
Yeah.
To get 10 seats is good.
I like Turtle says, if I'm right, CPC is up by 2 seats from 2021. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Yeah. So that's actually and that was a tight election as well. So the Conservatives can start making up ground in those areas you're not expecting to be making ground in. That's a victory.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's one of those things that it's hard to say right now just because it's so early in the night. Mm-hmm. We haven't got to Quebec. We haven't got to Ontario. And that's where
the block's going to have some
That's
fun.
where we're going to see some big numbers come out.
Yeah. So I think it's a good start at this point.
Yeah.
For the Conservatives. But as we get into Quebec, that's where, as Blanchette has said, it'll be quite a party.
Yeah. Check on Avalon. I want to see in Newfoundland if
Mr. McDonald got back in.
If he got back in, yeah.
Okay. No, Paul Connors.
Yeah.
McDonald stepped down. But there's 3 ridings that went Liberal. Yeah. And then there's 6 ridings in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Half went Conservative, the other half went Liberal. Fascinating. So that's where we're at. That is where we're at. It's as you said, it's an early night, even though it's late in Atlantic Canada. It's over past 10 o'clock at this point. But we are going to be getting some people on stream here shortly. Yeah.
And folks, you said, what happened to Jasmin? Jasmin is currently doing a segment for Juno News. As you kind of know from our stream issues, Juno News was having stream issues as well. So her kind of time slot has been a little bit delayed because of that. So we're going to get everybody on. We're going to get Portuguese Pie on. We're going to get all the friends and family on with the stream with us. It's just conservative streams across the Eastern Seaboard right now have been going down like crazy. We don't know why. It might be a coincidence, but definitely makes you ask some questions. And the fact that she couldn't get into Juno News was interesting when she had a scheduled time with them. I don't know. It's weird, guys. It's really weird.
It's a weird, yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. And Mr. Sunshine Baby will be joining us here shortly. He'll be hopping into the StreamYard there, Brandon. So is my screen still up? Okay, good. Nope. I just want to make sure I don't pull up any personal messages, you know what I'm saying? So he'll be joining us fairly shortly. So whenever he's on, just let us know. He'll be joining us probably the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Another person says Frank Vaughn is lagging now too. It's just Rebel News has over 9K people watching their live, and their Rebel News was also having lag issues too earlier. It just really, I know I keep saying it's weird, but it is. It's really weird. In this day and age, when we know that we have stable internet connections, and we could see from we were running all the diagnostic tests in the background to just see that things were crashing.
Yeah. and we had no control over it.
Yeah.
We literally had zero control over it. That's why I was getting very frustrated, admittedly, when everyone's like, it's lagging, guys. I'm like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I guess what? Here's the thing. I'm frustrated too. So I want this to be a good experience. And the fact that we were well over 3,000 views at the time, and we got 3.9 and crashed, and we're climbing back up to like, we're not even at 1.5 now.
Yeah.
Hurts a little bit, but we out here.
We'll get there.
Yeah. We'll get back up there. And
Francis says, it's rigged, dog. I mean, it's looking that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to get out my tinfoil hat, but it's awful odd.
Mm-hmm.
So
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. It says 300 on the old stream. You should let them know. They're chatting away saying, where are you? I did, man. I put out multiple messages on that stream. I don't know if we can close it from our end.
But I'll do it.
Yeah. So Josh is on the case. We'll close it on their end. Make sure that if you can go over there and let them know to come on over here too, like we'll do that. So we'll hit it from two sides. But just an odd night, odd election. Just weird times in Canada, guys. Like, who would have thought we would get Justin Trudeau replaced with this WEF implant and then see the complete change in our trajectory for this election, and then all the lies, and then the way that the media's been spinning everything, and then now for election night for all these streams to suddenly go dark or be lagged out or just fail entirely. Like, it's just like weird things on top of weird things. It's turtles the whole way down. I don't get it. It just makes you question, like, what is our country? And I know that I've heard from a couple folks in other parts of the world that are like, when we look at Canada, we're seriously concerned for you guys. And now I'm thinking, like, should we be more concerned? It all could be a coincidence, or could have been a tree that fell on some kind of special cable line, or somebody could have dug into something in the ground that they shouldn't have dug into. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get an explanation tomorrow. But for right now, it's a little funky.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And so it's just frustrating because it was because I was talking with Jasper there. Apparently, could you send me the StreamYard link?
So T-Bab says, it's so depressing that Cape Breton is voting Liberal. The old population has been drinking the Kool-Aid for too long. Damn shame. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I said this about Newfoundland too, that I think that there's, in Atlantic Canada especially, is that you'll get folks who will vote for the candidate. Like, they're not really voting for the party. They're voting for the candidate because they know that person. They have a relationship with that person. And frankly, that's how you win Atlantic Canada. It's really based off of the connections, the community, the name value, the face value, the family connections. Like, if this person's well liked, their family's well liked in the community. Mm-hmm. It's very much like that. So in Cape Breton, you're going to see people who are voting Liberal because they like the candidate, not so much that they, totally align with the federal party. Yeah. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. I was talking on Sean Newman's podcast earlier today, and that was what they're asking, like, what's Atlantic Canada going to look like? And I was like, it's tough. If there's a brand new candidate, it's up for flipping. But like, for a lot of people, the incumbents have a huge benefit in Atlantic Canada because they're known in the community, especially if they did hardcore work in the community up to this point. They have a good ground game. They are no matter what part of they're in, they'll have a good chance at winning, unless you're Sean Fraser.
I think people are pretty angry about Sean Fraser, right? I mean, when you come out and say that you're retiring and then say, oh, psych, I'm coming back because the polls look better. People are not dumb. They see that, they recognize that. Mm-hmm. And, in that case, I think people are, if they're voting Liberal, they're voting for the party. They're not voting for the candidate, because totally. I know folks in that area are not happy with him.
Yeah. And Brendan, just keep a close eye on the StreamYard. He's going to be in within like next 30 seconds. So, because we can't make Mr. Sunshine Baby wait, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Norman Earl dropping some love on the stream, throwing us $10. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. All the super chats go to help make this kind of thing possible for you guys. And if the government and YouTube doesn't shut us down first. What? Did I say that? No.
Yeah, exactly. It all helps out so much, especially on a night like this where
we're going to take a look at that right now.
Baby. Hey, Jasper.
Should be good to go, though. I think it is good to go.
Yep.
We're going to have to see how fast they can get this done.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to leave everybody in limbo and in suspense.
We don't love limbo. Jasper, are you there?
But this is awesome. This is awesome. Who else is excited about Sean Fraser? Like, let me know down in the comments.
Yep.
Which Liberal in particular you want to see lose their seat. I'm extremely happy with Sean Fraser.
We are too.
Losing his seat.
We are too.
Also, I mean, it's top notch to see Jagmeet lose his seat. We're literally, I got a bottle of vodka in the.
Can you hear us?
Oh, am I on the stream now?
Can you hear us?
Hold on a second here.
You're alive, sir.
I can't hear you guys.
What?
I cannot hear you guys at all, fellas.
Can you see us?
Apparently, I'm on the stream right now.
Any love whatsoever.
I'm like in the room by myself. You brought me into a stream that I'm in the room by myself. Like there's nobody else in here but me.
I'm literally talking.
I'm not sure how that works.
I'm
I see the
Elev8
podcast
I'm literally talking
on my phone, but I'm in the room by myself. Okay, give me a second here.
Celine Dion is a national treasure, I will say.
Really is.
So A Western 91 says, the fact that Conservatives are doing so well in Canada despite their older population is very promising. Have hope, my fellow Canadians. Thank you so much, A Western 91. NDP dropping out of South Shore really hurts Rick. Yep.
Yeah,
I think that was a big thing too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you think they're resplitting? You were saying?
Yeah. So what was happening was that NDP and the Liberals were splitting their vote, but then when the NDP dropped out, all those votes went to the Liberals, and like that was the thing. Like NDP and the Greens, like doing that. I mean, they're totally allowed to. They're within their right to. But it's interesting to see how that keeps playing out.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Jagmeet Singh as well who mentioned something along the lines of the reason why he didn't bring down the government was because he didn't want the Conservatives to get into power.
Yeah. Oh, we know that, right? He hates Polyev.
It's just funny that they say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild.
Wheezy dropping some love on the channel. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I guess it didn't work out with Jasper. Yeah. He's a great YouTuber. Yeah, he's not going to. That's just how he operates. Which I don't fault him for. It's one of those. He's got such a big channel and he's got a lot of voices or a lot of eyeballs, and he warned me in the message. He's like, there better be no lag time. And then lag time, he's out. That's how he operates, and I respect the hustle for it. That's kind of how it operates. Do we know what happened there? No, he just couldn't hear us. I guarantee it was probably someone on his end too. I'm gonna call him out. Jasper, it was all you. It's your fault.
And David F says, Maritime's looking more beautiful than I thought. Beautiful than I thought. Yeah. We'd love to see it.
Oh man, it's all good. It's just StreamYard issues. Or the issue he was saying is that he was in the room by himself. Oh, we're in there now. Okay. Well,
Oh, they're saying even CTV is glitchy now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, that makes me feel better. I just want to know that everybody's having the same kind of crap that we're dealing with. So, he says you're streaming on a different platform. Hello from Mr. Sunshine Baby. Yeah, Jasmine's on Juno right now. She had a scheduled interview with them, so she'll be back as soon as she's done with Juno. So that's where she's at. Max says, watching from the US, my wife is Canadian, talks about moving back for family. As homeowners with good jobs, it's irrational to leave the US right now. Yeah, do not come back right now. It's not good up here right now.
It's a tough time. It was, I've actually got my American in-laws up here currently. And that's the one thing that was the biggest shock for them is the sticker shock.
Yeah.
They were getting groceries one night and they just, my mother-in-law put Parmesan on the cart. And got up front. She's like, $12 for Parmesan cheese? And he's like, yeah. She's like, you guys are going to love, if you guys ever move to the States, prices are going to be much better. I think my mother-in-law's in favor of the 50th state. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You know what though? Like all the rhetoric about the 51st state, there's so many people talking about how that would be so much better. Like we're going to see, lower taxes, all this stuff. It would hollow out our real estate market. And the fact that so many people have all their life savings into real estate,
It'd be game over.
It would be game over. It would be devastating for us.
Yep.
And Relax With Me says, you guys are national heroes. Long live free Canada. Thanks so much, Relax With Me. And A Western 91, Atlantic Canada's even super chat lagging hard, guys. Yeah.
Makes me feel a bit better, right? Makes you feel a bit better. And
absolutely insane.
Holy smokes. Are you there, Jasper? Can you hear us now?
All right.
All right.
Can you hear us now?
Please. I'm praying he can hear us now.
Yeah, I do. Give me 1 second here.
Let's
fellas.
go. Let's go.
All right, here we go. We got this figured out now. Let me just update it on my end here. I hear you, but I don't see you.
That's all right.
That's the difference. Well,
No,
it's not though.
Yeah,
because so for those who are just trying to understand right now, I'm in your StreamYard and you're supposed to be here as well so that we can all talk, but you're using StreamYard and you're recording with your OBS, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how we're operating. Is that what's happening on your end here?
That ain't gonna work, fellas. Sorry.
All right. Sorry, sir. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
No problem. We'll try next time.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so there you go. There you go. That's the issue.
What's up, Jasmine? How you doing? Oh, he smokes. Yeah, that's all. That's how that works. It's all good. I forgot. Like him and I talked earlier today, and he told me he was going to bring his stream in, and I forgot that aspect that we can't duplicate what we're doing in OBS inside StreamYard. So you can blame me for that one, but at least that's the thing I love about Jasper. He's so straight to the point. He's like, "Boy, fellas, this sucks. I'm out."
Listen, I've been gone for a little bit. Is there a reason why we're headphoning?
We were just about to talk to Jasper, but then it just turns out it's not going to work out.
Oh.
So
Rude.
you don't need to know. But
Rude.
hey, guess what? The stream is now up on your X account and your YouTube account.
I did notice that.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody.
All right, let's go. We're happy to have you back. So updates. Sean Fraser's now losing big.
Yes! Really?
Yeah.
Dude, how bad? What how bad?
We are right now looking at, let's pull up. Okay, I guess not terrible, but he's losing by 400 votes right now, which is big in Central Nova.
Yeah. Especially where you have towns there that are only 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
I don't know what it is. Listen, I don't mean to be like too cruel, but Sean Fraser just as a whole is awful. I don't know how else to put that. So like, thank you. Please get out of my life, sir. Like you've done enough damage. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, you have to realize, like, what was he the minister of? He was the minister of housing and the minister of immigration. What are the two most broken things in the country right now? Housing and immigration. So I totally understand why you'd feel that way. And
you know what I was thinking this morning? I'm not going to lie. I woke up and I had this weird thing, and who knows exactly how everything's going to go. It's looking good in some areas right now, which is nice. But wow, I cannot wait to check Mark Miller's X account later today. That's one that I'm keeping an eye on for sure, because he has just been a mean little bridge troll lately.
Okay.
Just a nasty little human being.
Mark Gerritsen is another one that I want to check out and see what happens there in that riding.
Oh, man. Cody Blois smoked Joel Hurdle.
Okay, so I got inside information on that one.
Insider information. Here we go.
So basically what happened there, the Conservative candidate in that riding did not show up to the debate. And Cody Blois, he has name recognition, like he's well liked in the area, but people were upset with him over kind of like the carbon tax and a lot of things around farmers because it's a farming community. But he showed up. He showed up and he spoke at the event, and the Conservative guy, he was just like, no, not worth my time, not going to do it. And the community recognizes that. They're going, oh, well, you can't show up for our own debate. Like, you're definitely not going to show up for us in Ottawa. Like, they're like, well, we're not happy with what Cody Blois did, but at least he's there for us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one was an obvious one.
Yeah, that was, I remember I tweeted about him, and people were like, oh, he's posting stuff on Facebook. He's trying his best. I'm like, is he?
Yeah.
He didn't show up to the debate. Like, do you realize what is happening in our country right now? And you didn't show up to the debate. Sorry, you lost me on that one.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, you have people for your social media account.
Yeah.
Like you have an intern that's paid by a Canada Student Works grant. Like, give me a break. Like, that's not doing the most. That's doing the very least.
Yeah.
It's probably doing less than least because, like I said, you got a subsidized student there probably posting it for you. So, yeah, no, not impressed.
Yeah, and we're moving to Quebec right now, and Block's already picked up 2 seats, or at least leading at 2 seats right now, which is huge. But yeah, I think we had, again, 33 seats in Atlantic Canada, and Collins picked up 10. That's 2 more than they initially had in the last election. So I think that I'd take that as a dub currently, as much as it would have been nice to get more. It was, we'll take what we can get, especially as you're going to Quebec, and the Block is starting to pick up speed.
Yeah, and I'm going to read out one of these super chats because I absolutely love it. So David Bell says, if there's a majority conservative win, Canadians need an official independent media day.
Yeah.
Like, love that. 100%.
I'd be here for that.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Yeah.
And
I dig that.
Andrew Sad said, in America, we're watching from Orange County, CA. My girlfriend is from Toronto. Tell her to stop tripping. She's going to get deported. Win the chat for Pierre. Love that. And Michael M says, you're better than watching CBC, CTV, and Global. Thank you so much. Once we got by the, I don't know what you'd call this, crazy internet outages, stream attacks, what you even call it. Weirdness is what we'll label it as.
Yeah.
Glad to be back with you folks, though.
Totally.
CBC is absolutely melting down, by the way.
Are they?
Very entertaining.
Oh, man.
Particularly over Sean Fraser, where they are commenting things like, I'll just quote it here, saying like, this is not what the Liberals wanted to see or were hoping to see. This is a lot tighter. And also Rosemary Barton just kind of like going off.
She's already losing it, which I mean, so that tells me something, right? Where I'm like, oh, the Libs coming out with a pretty decent lead out of Atlantic Canada. Like, if I'm a Liberal, I'm kind of happy about it. But seeing them like upset about that means they know they're in for trouble later tonight.
Yeah, well, because like Atlantic Canada is their stronghold.
Yeah.
Atlantic Canada, like they knew for a fact they were going to win all the seats in Atlantic Canada.
You know
and
what
they're
I thought,
not.
I thought was interesting is that Charlie Kirk actually even posted a little while ago, maybe like 25 minutes ago or something. And he had posted saying that the polls were wrong in Canada, very wrong. And then he was showing some of the up-to-date trackers of where things are leading versus what they thought was going to happen. And I'm entertained. I don't know. How about you guys? I don't want to get too cocky. You never know how these things will turn out. Obviously, Ontario is going to be a big one, but
Yeah.
I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, at the very least.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's funny because, when Rick Perkins did his whole press tour with a couple of different Conservative MPs, he was like, we're going to win all the seats in Atlantic Canada, which obviously makes sense. As someone who's trying to win, so of course you're going to win everything. But admittedly, I actually thought the Conservatives would have picked up a couple more seats than 10. But to know that this result is actually causing the Liberals to be very scared is actually, I'm like, okay, I'll take that as a dub at the very least at this point. But again, do you think I'm going to hold, like, that's actually the one thing that before Jasper came on, we could hear him talking and he's like, Sean Fraser's losing. Sean Fraser's losing. I think we were all in jubilance that Sean Fraser is currently losing. And do you know who's really happy he's losing?
Me?
His family.
That too. Yes.
Yeah.
He did
Papa's
promise
coming home.
to spend time with them after all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think Melanie Joly should lose too.
Yeah.
She literally, girl's been trying to get pregnant forever. She's talked about this many times, had a hard time, decided to get into politics. Sounds like a wild thing to do when you are trying to be, not as stressed out, want to have some family time. And maybe now's the right time for Miss Jolie to lose.
Yeah,
and just so she can live her best life.
The thing is, like, we were in Ottawa and we could just feel it. It was palpable in the air there. Like, the place is toxic. Like, that's not going to be a good place to like try and start a family.
No.
Like, we were with people and everybody was like smiling and lovely to them. And then as soon as they were out of earshot, they're like, I hate that person. I'm like, well, I can't stand this place. This place is garbage.
Yeah.
Like,
it's incestuous in a lot of ways. And it's just toxic, incestuous. It's all the same people doing the same.
Incestuous?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone, it's the same thing with the media there too, where, if you lose a job at CTV, you're going to Global. It's all, even this.
That's all media.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing in Ottawa with the political positions, right? It's just, everyone knows each other, but sometimes you're your role is going to change. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a staffer, now you're a politician, but now you're either in the Senate or you're a lobbyist, or now you're like an advisor, or like they just recycle. And I think like that's what Canadians are frankly tired of. We're tired of this recycling of the same bad policies, people that don't represent us, and values that don't align with our values.
It's something I've said oftentimes on my own show. I've said it when I've joined you guys as well. But like at the end of the day, the fact that we have as many parties as we do, fine and dandy, whatever. But it's not that my detest is for the Liberal Party in particular. It's a fine party by definition. The problem with the party is who is in it.
Exactly.
And the establishment people who have been in it for too long and who have, kind of lurked in the shadows while being the masterminds behind all of these things that have really hurt our country, and that they keep getting away with it. That's the biggest problem. Like, there is no accountability within that party at all. You can get away with anything as long as you are a liberal. And that needs to end, because that is no way at all. That's not democratic. There's nothing about that is in the best interest for a country, period. And we have obviously seen that. So I really do believe, and of course it feels good because I don't like people like Sean Fraser. I don't like how they talk to us. I don't like how the decisions that they make and how they think that they can just get away with anything and be whoever it is that they want to be, and there's no consequences or repercussions for their actions. But at the end of the day, like, you know what? If you don't want the Liberal Party to just completely crumble, if you're somebody who genuinely believes in liberal values these days, I mean, the Liberal Party today is not liberal at all. It's, neoliberal, I would argue, maybe even bordering on Marxist, a man who Mark Carney has claimed and written down as being one of the people who inspired him. But like the Liberal Party that we knew 20 years ago is no more. That doesn't exist at all. It's gone. And at the end of the day with this election, one of the biggest outcomes that I could see that could actually be in benefit would be for as many of those establishment people to get out of our lives. And then maybe, similar to what perhaps the NDP is going to be having to do here, you're going to have some new faces in there with some new ideas and some real change, not just for the country, but for the party as a whole, because it has gone so far off course.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's, like, you summed it up perfectly about the fact that the Liberal Party of 20 years ago was something I actually identified with. I don't recognize this Liberal Party at all. It's completely absurd. And when I look at the values of the Liberal Party from 20 years ago, and I look at the current Conservative Party, I'm like, current Conservative Party is Liberal Party 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's just, to me, and then when you do the CBC vote compass, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, it's putting me at like almost PPC level. I'm like, this is absurd. Okay, guys, like, give me a break. But, just wild. And it wasn't even just myself. It was so many people I know that hold the same values of just, we want an economy that works for people. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be beholden to draconian laws, and we don't want to see the balance of power consolidated in one entity. Like, just power to the people. And like, apparently that's completely illiberal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes back to the point you said, like, this Liberal Party is not the same one of 20 years ago. And that we saw that happen last night when Ruby Dalla, who was a part of that party 20 years ago, says, I endorse Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that tells you everything you know about the party right then and there. And there was someone in the chat who says, did you mean insidious? Like, no, I meant incestuous.
Yeah, see, that's why I asked for some clarity. I'm like, what?
Nope. I said what I said. But and that was the thing. We talked about this on our show in the early days when we were talking about, like, this Liberal Party is not the same as even was the under Stéphane Dion.
No.
Like, it's drastically different. And then when Pierre Poilievre started to point this out, what did Trudeau do in the House of Commons? This is not your grandfather's Conservative Party, folks. Like, dude, they've been doing the exact same thing. They just hold up a mirror every time and try to push back in the exact same way, just accuse their opponent of what they are currently doing.
It just makes me think of the Spider-Man meme where they're like pointing at each other. but I will say, Jasmin, you got a compliment in the super chat. John says, Jasmin's the most beautiful and elegant person. Love.
Love.
That's nice. Josh told me I was ugly this morning.
What the heck? No, I think it was when I called you this morning at 8:30, and you were just like, Huh?
I was so sleepy. I'm like, there's a weird time change here. I'm so tired.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
The time change is just awful. Oh my gosh. Why does Canada have to be so big? Honestly, it's outrageous.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with the Moose on the Loose, David.
Well, yeah, because he's 3 hours behind here, isn't he?
4.
4? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah,
That's like going to Europe.
yeah, he's a ways back.
So Jonathan Hodges says, thanks to all three of you for such great content leading up to tonight. And Studio 778 says, you guys need her in your show up more, or you need her in your show up more often. Class up the place. And that French ticker, dude, lol, congrats on the baby.
French ticker.
I second that. We got to do something like this more often. I'll suck up the time zone.
French tickler. He's talking about my mustache. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I figured it out.
It's going after tonight. So my
No,
wife, it
what?
is.
Stop.
So I knew that it was bad when I went to work today, and all the guys were like, that thing is beautiful. It is a work of art.
guys.
Excellent. And all the girls at work were just like, oh.
Those girls
Yeah,
suck.
they're like-
I don't know. I love mustaches so much. Not everybody can pull them off, but if you can, oh baby, let it grow. Like it is so cool. It's just such a confidence boost.
So yeah, well, apparently for the dudes, but it's like all those memes where they're like, oh, you lift, you get girls, and it's like, no, you lift, you get other dudes. That's how I felt like with the mustache today at work. All the guys were like, this looks so good, man. I'm like, thanks, man. Like, appreciate it. And then one guy was just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna grow a mustache because like yours looks so good. And I was like, oh, I was feeling myself. And then one of the other girls was just like, oh, like you just have a really nice face. Like, why would you put a mustache on it? I was like, oh, okay.
Imagine if you flip that around. You have a really nice face. Why would you put makeup on it?
Yeah.
Oh, the outrage.
Yep.
Jasmine's getting the people going tonight. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm fired up, baby. Fraser Valley may be no more. I'm excited
I
for
might
it.
get another cold stream, man.
Yep. Go for it.
At this point, celebration.
But yeah. Just wild.
There was a fun little super chat there I just saw who said, gotta pull this up again. Sucks to have to say this, but it looks like the PPC might have cost a couple seats to flip going liberal.
Oh,
one in
without a
Nova
doubt.
Scotia,
Oh, yeah.
one in New Brunswick, less
Yeah.
than the Nova Scotia seat.
Definitely. And it was hard because I have a couple of friends who like told me straight up they were voting PPC. And I was
Same.
like, guys, I was like, you can't do that. Like you're voting PPC. I was like, you're not going to get a seat. You're giving a seat to the Liberals. And they're like, oh, uniparty. I was like, friggin'
Yeah.
Maxime Bernier. Like I blame him.
Yeah.
Like I blame Jagmeet Singh for keeping Trudeau in government for so long. And if we start to see things get like bad in Canada, I'll blame Maxime Bernier for
It's such
for
a tough thing because I understand where people are at. I respect their right to vote that way. And obviously you can do it. Okay, sure. If that's where you're leaning, great. But it's one of those things where we don't have the luxury in this country right now of not being strategic, I suppose I could say. And so that's the part of it that it's difficult because of obviously it's like, that's a fine party. That's your democratic right. Okay. But then for us who are just like, we need to get out of this absolute red hellhole, like
One party rule.
like it sucks. And so it's unfortunate because I hear you and I agree with you and I have friends in the same places too. And like, I don't ever want to say like, what are you doing? But also, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it's hard, right? Because I totally get it. Where you're just like, I don't see myself represented in any of these parties.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know, but right now we just need to clean things up a
Exactly.
bit. And then we can get to a
Yeah.
point where we're voting with our heart and soul.
Right, yeah.
Because like we see the left, they're doing it. I mean, the Greens pulled their candidates so that like the Liberals could stay in power. So it's like, if the left is doing it, we can't play by virtuous rules if they're playing a fixed game on the other side. So you have to vote strategically, unfortunately, in this one. And I will read another super chat. So Tails says, Jagmeet has more Rolexes than seats right now.
Dude, yeah, they got one seat right now that they're at least leading in.
Oh, wow.
Someone has actually asked the question about Rick Perkins. Is it too early to call his seat? And yes, it is. It's like a slim margin right now. He's only losing by a little less than 4% of the vote. And that is actually pretty fine margin of error for that particular riding. But I will say it's not looking great for him though.
Yeah.
I will cry.
Yeah, I love Rick.
I love Rick. And I love him. He's the most wonderful man.
Yeah, he's frankly been such a friend to community members is what I kind of love about him, is that he's out there, he's doing the work, he's putting in the effort. Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody's waving their Coldstream can over
Where
here.
are they?
Don't worry, I'll go get them.
Josh is going to go get
Tell
some
me toys.
And in the grab me one
I've never
too.
had one of those before, and they're good.
They taste like I said, they taste like my childhood. Like it's
Wow, you had some great parents.
I mean that in the sense of like going to Tim Hortons and getting like the peach flavored drink.
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm like,
I love your parents. No shade to them. That was all a joke. You have a wonderful family.
Yeah, they don't even drink.
Oh, now they hate me.
David Lowski says, I hope the threat of CBC getting defunded inspires them to improve. They have potential. They just need to refocus and innovate. Well, that's the thing, right? Is that I said to Josh earlier, what government entity do you know that's really super innovative? It's like anytime you tell people you have nothing to lose, you have like no risk here, we're going to fund you 100%. Don't worry about it. They get comfortable. Like you need that fear of like, we're going to get shut down if we don't do something risky or innovative or different. Like you need that fear God into people to make them actually do something new and exciting. Because otherwise they just keep going with the status quo because they're like, who cares? We're still collecting a paycheck from the taxpayer dollar anyway.
Which is just, I have a lot of thoughts and I can't formulate all of them until Josh comes back with whatever the heck that delicious drink is that I shouldn't be drinking.
But yeah,
I wanted to point you guys to this. So obviously we don't have the audio for it because this just happened, but Charlatan, how do you pronounce that? Charlottetown? Charlottetown?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not from there. And listen, I used to know how to say it when I was younger. But so Rosemary Barton was just on CBC and she said, thank goodness Charlottetown is okay. Does that sound unbiased to you?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? Thank goodness Central Nova is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually crazy, but not surprising. It's just it just frustrates me because I know people come at me saying you're biased. You're clearly conservative.
It's like, yes, I admit it.
Yeah, I've told you this many times.
Yeah, so you can now take my opinion with that in mind and know that bias does not negate accuracy. And you can now run everything that I say through that filter that I've been honest with you about. And I'm still going to report on things and tell you how they make me feel with that bias. And you can take that as you will instead of, pretending as though I don't have one and that you're getting an honest, rational, full take.
But I mean, it is honest, rational, truthful based off of your view of the world. Like that's the thing, right? And I think that anybody who sits out there and pretends that they are completely neutral on things are just fooling themselves or you or both. And so that's the part that makes me mad. It's just like, you can't be unbiased. You have bias based off your lived experience, based off your values, based off of where you grew up, what you experienced. So like, it's just go for it.
I read a quote today. I cannot remember who said this and I didn't save it. So apologies. I will not be able to credit you, but somebody on X had said, conservatives are people who have realized what their values are and what the meaning in their life is. And if you are somebody who's ever taken the time to sit with yourself and reflect on what are my values, what is my meaning, you are most likely going to lean towards conservative values. But the problem is that too many people have never had that conversation with themselves. They just have no idea. And that's why they just vote with like, this makes me look and feel good today. Stupid.
You know what's not stupid is Virtual Gran throwing some love to us on the chat here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Nick also says Carney purses his lips all the time because his underwear vibrates. What is that comment?
Do you have like things coming from my channel on there too, Josh, or no?
Yeah, it's all.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, check out your channel.
Jeff Key says, come on, Perkins, with a sad face.
You got to guest him backstage.
And A Bro says, thanks to all your content for this election to keep us all there. Keep the stash and congrats on the baby. Dad life is the best. It is the best. And Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we have David backstage right now, a moose on the loose. We will be joining currently very shortly here. This one will actually work. Pardon?
You know what?
We'll get there.
That's par for the course tonight. I'm just like, I'm feeling so loose, and like we could say whatever the heck we want because it doesn't matter. They're gonna force our stream out or do whatever. I don't know. So
it was funny because I remember, when this was, it started choppy and I was like, okay, maybe it'll work itself out. And then it goes 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes and it's still being choppy. And me and Jasmine look at each other and I instantly had stress just wash over me when we made eye contact. I was like, this is not good. And so she goes out to do the Juno News interview and we're trying to figure this out. And then we start hearing all these streams going down. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, makes me feel a bit better.
I couldn't even connect to Juno News at first. It took me a couple tries and then finally I was able to get in, but yeah.
Perfect.
What the frig is that?
Yeah. What is going on? David, can you hear us?
Hi, it's me, David.
Dude, for a second, I thought it was him. For a second. And then I was like, that's a little too high pitched.
Well, guys, we got a lot of good stuff coming up for you today. I'm sorry, that was terrible. I was going to try to quote something of his. I watch him every day.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember what, he does.
Lots of crazy stuff happening with the Liberal Party today. Let's get to it.
Mark Carney gets wrecked. Yeah. I love it. Oh, man. We all have our things. I love to see it.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
I'm trying to think what our thing is. My thing is just screwing up, especially. It's like,
oh, you said that in the car ride today, and I swear I heard especially. I twitched. I was like, ooh.
I can't help it. I don't know. I think it's because I have a problem with S's in particular. So trying to say especially.
You just did it beautifully. Just do it more like that.
I hate it. I hate it because I know I'm a little bit tongue tied. So yeah. It makes for great media.
It's beautiful. Don't worry. We love you for all of your quirks, my friend.
But you, though, posting our karaoke on...
yes. If you haven't seen it yet, you have to go onto my X page, just Jasmin Laine _. And Reg and I met up on a Saturday night, I guess that was. Yeah. And he was a singer. I found out that he is a singer. And he's one of those people who's good at karaoke. And I don't like people like that. But it was beautiful.
Do you know what I thought was funny is that I was reading through and I was like, oh, felt a little bit good, saw some positive comments. And then there was one who was like, he's not actually that good. And I was like, keeping me humble. Thank you.
You know what the worst part is? And I was talking behind your back on the phone with Josh today about this because I said, did you know that Reg could sing? And Josh was like, yeah, I know. Everybody knows. And I was like, the worst thing here is the fact that Reginald had the audacity to complain about people who didn't sound good on stage. And so I was expecting you to suck. You can't diss people if you're actually good. And then you go up there and you just serenade all of these old women. They were just dancing in their chairs. Holy crap. They wanted to take you home and have you marry their daughters. It was nuts.
No. This one older lady came over to show me a very interestingly placed tattoo after you left. Oh, yeah.
What and where? And did you see? Did she show you?
Oh, yes.
Was it consensual? Are you okay?
I had to blink twice there. I was just like, oh, okay. Thank you, madame.
Did you call her madame? Buddy.
Anyway, yeah. So it was a wild night after you left, and we left shortly after that. But
my goodness.
So yeah, we're going through Quebec right now. Conservatives are actually picking up some seats there.
Good.
Obviously, Liberals are performing as relatively expected to be in Quebec. But yeah, we have a 64-47 lead right now for the Liberals. As they're going through Quebec, Bloc have picked up 10 seats there. So we want to see more getting closer to 15-20 seats for the Bloc there to start really making a difference. But it is nice to see the Conservatives actually picking up some seats as they go through Quebec. That's a big result.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to read out a super chat because it's a huge one. Theoretica says, Josh, congrats to you on yours and the baby. Safe to assume the little one doesn't have Reg's Willie stash smile. JK, haha, Jasmine. My 17-year-old daughter now keeps up with politics because of you. You rock. all of you. Cheers to all of you and your fellow viewers.
Wow.
Cheers to all of us. Yay. We're too
Cheers.
far to clink. So
Clink.
For both
There.
That's
Got it.
Pow.
That was some weird ASMR when you swallowed, Reg.
Sorry.
It freaked me out a little
Those
bit.
headphones going.
I got goosebumps. I'm like, what is this?
Gee.
And David Bell coming in as well. It says, Studio 77. I missed yours right in front of David's. It says, Studio 77 says, makes you wonder if the government and the telecoms are colluding. It's possible, i.e. wondered how Starlink is doing. Anyone? Yeah, that would be a good question. Is anybody on Starlink right now having any issues?
I should text my mom.
Yeah. So David says, you guys really need to do a trip out to Calgary one day and do during Stampede. Basically, every conservative politician is there. I would love to go to Stampede. I've never been.
You do listen to country music.
You were roasting me for that in the car.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know what it is, but like, I hate it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I wish I could like it. I just don't. But I love anybody else for their choices in life, even if I think that they're bad. But yeah, Stampede is a crazy time. I've actually never been to it, but I've been in the near area during it, and it's just wild.
Yeah, I was talking to Josh about it. He's been to Stampede a couple times, and he's like, it's an amazing time. So maybe we'll have to come out your way because you'll be in Manitoba, just a province over.
2 provinces over.
Oh yeah, sorry, Saskatchewan.
It's fine. It's not a super long drive. We can make it 18 hours approximately.
Oh, perfect. It's like us
If
driving.
that.
It's like us driving to Boston then.
Yeah.
So
Easy peasy.
easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
We'll all fly out, go to Stampede, live stream Stampede for you.
Oh Lord.
Would you guys be interested in even seeing that if we all go out to Stampede? I don't know. Dave Bell says, Dave is trying to join, folks. We know. we're working on it in the background. Okay. And Forest Nomad says, Canadian watching in Southeast Asia left Canada months ago, will return, invest in Canada if PP wins. Carney, I sell it all.
Mm-hmm.
How many billions will leave? And he put a little TR in front. Yeah. My wife says, your guest is trying to say hi. So he must be in the background hearing us all right now. Tail says, question for the panel. What age do you think it's appropriate for people to get into politics? And how old were you when you took politics seriously? That's a good question.
I was going to say something else. Breaking news moment right here.
Oh, yeah?
NDP Chief of Staff just gave a statement saying that if Jagmeet Singh loses his seat, he will not be pushed out and they will give him space to decide his own fate because of how much respect and admiration they have for him.
Oh, my.
They deserve everything they get.
Anyway, what was the question? Politics, young age?
Yeah, so they're asking at what age did you get into politics and what age do you think is appropriate to get into politics?
I was 13 when I got into politics, which I think is actually quite young. But I've always loved like history and things like that. So it was just like a pretty easy transition. I also grew up incredibly poor and we didn't have satellite TV. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have video games. I had books and I had whatever the bunny ears with tinfoil wrapped around them to get a little bit longer range could pick up.
Yeah.
And that was news. And so I got into politics quite young because that was quite literally all that I had. And it was awesome. Yeah. And then I guess I worked a career in media and I always really enjoyed talking about news and stuff like that in particular. That was kind of my specialty. And lo and behold, here we are many, many, many years later.
So for me, I like you, grew up very poor. And so I think not caring about politics is a luxury of the well-off, the well-to-do,
Absolutely.
the wealthy.
Yeah.
Because it's funny how many folks that I see posting these like super left-wing ideals. And I'm like, your father owns this company or your mother owns this or this parent is a lawyer. One person in particular, both of his parents were doctors. I was like, yeah, you can post all these things about how you want people to, have everything because you already have everything. You've never had to work for it. Mm-hmm. So I find it very interesting how easy it is for some of these folks to be liberal NDP when they've grown up very well off.
We currently have David on with us. David, how are you holding?
Hello. I can hear you now. Yes.
Let's go. We are our first successful interview guest tonight.
Kind of.
Dude, it's been brutal. Well, first off, I don't know if you've been
It's
following
my
it all.
fault.
Jasmine being here is the issue.
I took the blame.
But no, with the issue we were running into is obviously like we ran into huge glitching issues, which wasn't actually us. It was something beyond us, which was kind of weird that happened.
Aliens.
Then we had Jasper come on and he was live streaming at the same time. He's like, I can't see you guys. I'm out of here. We're just like, well, rip. And so now you're the second one up and we are glad that this is actually working. So thank you for being patient with us and we're having fun.
Yeah, the delay was quite a bit. It was probably about 30 seconds off because I swapped over to my other screen and was listening and then trying to figure it out. Like it was just delayed that much.
Oh, God.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
man.
side do you guys see my flag on? Is it on the left side or the right?
You tell us, Brendan, 'cause we can't see you.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, left side. We see on the left side.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So on my screen, it's flipped. Like I'm inverted. But anyways.
Okay. It's all good. You know, we're out here having some fun. And first off, thank you for taking the time out to be with us tonight. We love your
Thanks
work.
for having me on.
No problem. We all enjoy each other. I think you and I started going back and forth a little bit. We've had some good conversations. Obviously, I know you and Jasmine have been talking as well. And so I know the people love when the creators talk and we talk politics. So what has been going on? Obviously, you've been following the results up to this point. Is there anything that's been sticking out to you that was kind of an eyebrow raiser, or is this what you expected?
Well, for Atlantic Canada, I noticed Sharia Tees posted if 10 seats go to the Conservatives or more, then it's more likely the Conservatives are going to get a majority. And that's what we saw. They got exactly 10. I don't know if that's solidified yet. And now it's up to for 85 and 58.
Yep.
But, the Liberals are probably hoping the Conservatives would get 7 or less. And then the Liberals were only 23 at the time. They wanted 25. And they were announcing that on CBC. They're like cheerleaders for the Liberals. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're like, oh, phew, we won that seat. That was close. Like, what kind of ridiculous media do we have?
Oh, well, I want to kind of bring this back because Jasmine brought this up. We didn't hear it live, obviously, on the show. We only heard it through X. Jasmine, what was the exact quote again?
From which one?
Rosemary Barton.
Oh, from Rosemary Barton. She said, the Charlottetown one?
Yeah.
She said, thank goodness Charlottetown is okay.
After the Liberal won it.
Yeah, they had another one too. It was before that with what riding was it here? It was something in Atlantic Canada there, Nova Scotia. Did Sean Fraser? I think he's going to lose his seat.
He's going to lose his seat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We started getting the drinks flowing around here after we saw that. I was like, you know what? If this could all go south tonight, but as long as Sean Fraser loses his seat, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, and he kicked out the other guy who campaigned for a month, and he just steps in there, steals his seat. So it's fitting that he lose that seat.
Yeah.
100%.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, honestly. And like we said, we're really just rooting for his family because we're good people like that. We just really want to see him have the time that he needs to take with his children, with his wife, and with his family. So that's really what we're here for.
God bless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What was like at the rally? I know you kind of I think it was you showed up. You were talking to the pleb a little bit. I think you also were talking to Clinton Jaws. Is that true?
Yeah, no, Sunshine, the 4 of us, and also Cat Canada was there.
Nice.
And also, I think Brittany, I didn't meet her, but from X, she was there. There was about 6 of us.
Dude.
I was just kind of walking down the line and then just getting mobbed by people. It was crazy. Just everyone wanting to meet me and shake my hand. It's just it's unusual for me because my first rally, but Pleb was probably his, 10th rally or whatever by that point.
Yeah.
Totally.
So,
well, how did that feel? I know we've experienced a version of that, the rallies we've been to. What was it like for you to kind of get that type of attention, knowing that you were running this out of your studio space, out of your home, and you don't really talk to people face to face. You're talking to a camera, and then the numbers that you talk to on a website are now in real life talking to you.
Yeah, I try to not rationalize or visualize the numbers because it's too many people. I don't want to think about talking to 137,000 people. That's crazy. So
I can't even get my whole family to come to my birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. goodness. Okay, David, I'm really curious for you actually. So obviously I feel like we can all kind of relate to you being in this space and then actually being able to go to events where it's, you know, like that's your group of people, like people who are familiar with you, who are interested in the same things as you. There was this one, what is his name? Fred
Delory.
Yes, who had said, and it's crazy because he's actually a former conservative campaign manager, and he said on CBC that conservatives depended on the votes of angry young people. And what do you think about comments like that, which are things that are, you know, it's not a one-off. We hear things like that all the time in this space, just all of this rhetoric and these narratives. And so, you know, going to those rallies, meeting those people, the things that they said, what are comments like that being displayed on CBC of all places? How does that make you feel? What do you think of it?
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, sure, everyone is frustrated and angry with the situation in Canada, but it's not like a bunch of warmongers running around angry, pounding their chests and slamming clubs. I saw some of those comments today on CTV. I actually have a clip here. Let's see if I find it. But basically, it was basically for Aaron Gunn, and they were saying, the whole residential school thing, and they're just trying to cut him down while the vote was going on. It's like, it's just they're campaigning for him.
Yeah, they are.
Campaigning against him, or campaigning for whoever the NDP is here, Tally Johnston.
Mm-hmm. It's that's one thing that I've certainly noticed at this election, on a far greater, more serious scale than years past, has been the mainstream media and just how hard they are pushing and how forgiving they have been when really wrong things have happened to their candidate of choice.
Well, you know why he's their candidate of choice, though. It's that you have Pierre Poilievre, who came out early in the campaign saying we're taking away funding for CBC, and we know that they aren't innovative, so they're basing a lot of their income off of what they're getting from the taxpayer dollar. So if you take that away, there's a lot of people going, is my job going to be on the chopping block? So they are going to fight tooth and nail to keep their job, to keep their funding. And in order to keep their job and their funding means they've got to keep the Liberals in power. So that's what you're seeing happening right there. And that's where I've been kind of like the whole time saying, that was a bad move by the Conservative Party to announce that.
No way. I think it's great. Get it out in the open, baby.
I think it was a terrible move.
Wow.
I think what they should have did is they should have acknowledged the fact that CBC is super biased and just call that out. Left it there because we saw Mark Carney call out Rosemary Barton and a few others tell the Globe and Mail that they basically suck. And for a couple of days, the media went after him, and then they went right back to their same song and dance before. But I think that if the Conservative would have been, you know, kind of out there saying like the media is biased and we don't love it, and then once they finally got into power, go, by the way, we're cutting your funding because we need to find savings everywhere. I think that would have been a much better plan, and you wouldn't have seen people react the way they are reacting. Because right now I've got folks in my circles who otherwise would have voted Conservative, but feel that for some reason that freedom of speech is under attack right now because the CBC is going to be defunded.
You know, David, I'm curious if you have an opinion on this at all. Do you almost wonder if that was strategic of Poilievre to do something like that in order to really show the what mainstream media in Canada, particularly CBC, and how much they've degraded?
I was thinking about that today. So I went for a jog just about an hour ago, and I was thinking about exactly that it was probably, I mean, he's obviously wants to get them defunded because they just attack him at every single press conference, but it probably was partly a strategy to like, let's just put a highlight on this because they're always going after him. I mean, listening to the CBC broadcaster for an hour is just awful. They're always, they're always going after the Conservatives, and they're always saying in favor of the Liberals. Oh, the Liberals are going to try to win this seat back. And there was one point there where the Conservatives were ahead, and then suddenly it flipped, and Rosemary's like, okay, we'll take that one because it tied up. It's just their bias is so obvious. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree that their bias is really obvious. And I think the part that like really put the nail in the coffin for me with the CBC is when they put out those graphs showing their funding, and they reversed the order of the graphs to make it look like they got less funding in the more recent years when that was actually not the case. They used a trick to try and shorten the bars in the graph to make one bar that shows the
Yeah.
government funding. They like put the little squiggle in there so that it looked way smaller. So they went from like 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 4 million, 1.3 billion. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of crap that they pulled. And they're like, look, it's not that bad. It was obviously done to mislead. And when I looked at that, because that's my world, right? Is my day job is in statistics and numbers and counts and surveys. So looking at this, I'm going, they are so dirty. They're trying to completely influence the narrative on this just by putting up these fake graphs. Well, not totally fake, but like manipulative graphs to try and change the story around this. I was like, that to me, like that was the nail in the coffin. I was like, I'm done with CBC. I just can't trust anything that they put out anymore.
It was them calling all of us right-wing radical extremists that did it for me. So that was like a year ago, but
yeah.
I mean, even that Policy Horizons thing that came out, they're trying to downplay it and say it's not a real part of the government. It's some far off, like small department nobody knows about. It's just like, come on, you're insulting people who work at this department, part of the Privy Council.
Like, if that's the case, okay, so why are we paying for it?
Yeah. Seriously. But what the weirdest part about this whole thing is I actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone with Josh and I'm looking at the Policy Horizon stuff and it's all disappearing. And I'm like, holy crap. I turned off my internet, went back because I had cached, like all the documents were cached in my internet browser. I went through and downloaded the entire library of Policy Horizons documents because I was like, I don't know if these are going to be available to me anymore. And like the fact that I was like, can you believe that that's the Canada we live in, where government documents that, you know, paint a not so lovely future that is very anti-government are now being pulled and removed? And it was interesting because it was the same thing that happened with the global affairs stuff. People noticed, people got loud about it, and then suddenly things were back. But I had went through and I saved everything, turned my internet back on, it was gone again. Those web pages were broken.
Yeah.
I was like, that's screwed up. There's something weird happening with this government. The censorship is wild.
David, I got another question for you. So obviously being in the space that we are, you know, Mark Carney as well. I mean, the Liberals, NDP and Greens have all talked an awful lot about censorship, and they're, you know, calling anybody who disagrees with them some sort of an istophobe or a misogynist and all of these things. Is there anything in particular that you're I want to I guess I'm just trying to suss out how you are feeling right now with everything that's going on, how it's all looking at the moment. You know, obviously Atlantic Canada looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good, not gonna lie. But where are you at right now?
Well, I mean, you guys just mentioned, I didn't know about that, Jagmeet Singh taking over another riding. Like that was that was the one thing you could count on, that guy not getting his seat. So that right there is not that's not reassuring. That guy's got to go. Like, he's an absolute traitor.
Yeah.
But as for, I mean, we know that Alberta is going to be a clean sweep, and British Columbia here is really going blue. So we might pick up 5 or 6 here. I don't know. He's optimistic. I was expecting us to get around 160. So minority territory, but right now it's looking more than that.
You know, it's kind of funny. Just speaking of Alberta, I saw on CBC earlier today, which I did watch, unfortunately, because I hate myself, that CBC had said that they were, you know, we're really expecting to get quite a few seats over in some parts of Alberta because, you know, that's where Mark Carney grew up. That's where he's from. So, you know, it's really going to represent. And I'm like, what? I'm sorry, what? Where he grew up when? How long did he live there for? Like 7 years? That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That'd be like if I moved to China for 7 years and then called myself Chinese. Like, that's not a thing. Like, get out of here, Mr. Carney. Gosh.
Well, I do have a question I want to put out to first David, and then we'll move it to Jasmin. Is right now we are seeing currently the Liberals at 127, Conservatives at 89. This is kind of, to some degree, as we're going through Quebec and Ontario, is some degree that we're expecting. But a lot of people in the chat right now are freaking out. They're panicking. There's like, this is terrible. This is bad. David, can you walk us through, from your perspective, and we'll send it to Jasmin, why this is not panic territory just yet?
I mean, we have to wait until everything comes in, really. Like, we get the biggest back end load once it hits the final 3 provinces. So now's not the time to panic, especially since Atlantic Canada already got those numbers we want. So I don't think you got to wait till all the chips are down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would agree with that as well. I understand, obviously, and that's the thing which is just kind of unfortunate about how things are counted, how slow it is in some cases, and the different time zones and whatever. But as a whole, at this moment, there are certain areas that we've picked up where I didn't think we as though we are federally running.
All right, Rosemary Barton.
Oh, Charlottetown is, thank goodness they're okay. But there are certain areas that we're doing a lot better than I thought we were going to. So I'm grateful for that. And we'll just kind of see how that keeps on rolling, because I mean, Ontario is usually a pretty big one. Same with Quebec, pretty big one. But it's not like with the numbers that we have right now, it's not like it's completely over once those are through, right?
No.
So
yeah, let's like right now. Our majority is what we're talking. So 174 is what we're talking. Oh, sorry, 172. 172. So right now, if you get through Ontario and they still are only around 150, 155, that's actually really good. Considering what BC is looking at, as you were just talking about, David, that this is, if they get through Ontario and they only get to 150, 155.
My mom just texted me. She said CTV is declaring a Liberal win.
Already.
Of course they are. I can already see 20 seats on the map right now that are still gray in Ontario alone.
Sorry for interrupting.
It's all good. I think that was perfect way to interject.
If you look at, there's Saskatchewan, you got downtown, where is that? Around Moose Jaw, I think, Regina. Then you've got basically all of British Columbia. Like, this is not over. It's not even close.
No, that's crazy.
It's so it is frustrating that they do that.
It's dumb.
Yeah. There's so many, okay, I'm trying to regulate my thoughts here. There is so much up for grabs right now. Like there's nothing that's being counted. The fact that they're projecting a Liberal win.
It's come on.
It's like, we still got to get to BC here yet, folks. Like I'm looking at the map right now and they're doing all these projected wins across all the provinces, including Alberta. And
CBC also called Liberals to win, which is crazy because they haven't even finished counting advanced polling yet.
And Global's calling it a Liberal win as well.
How is it worded? Read it to me.
They just said they're forming government. That's all they're saying.
David, thoughts?
I mean, I'm trying to count the amount here. There's at least 45 that are still gray, and there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 10 that are actually solid. So what are they calling? Nothing is even done here.
Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it?
I mean, they're just trying to do their thing. They all work for the man there. They get their big paychecks from the Liberals, and that's what it's just, this country's ridiculous. This has to end.
So I'm trying to understand how you can have 127 seats, much of which are just projected. They're not even solidified. Mm-hmm. And you're saying they have a Liberal, they're forming government.
Breaking, CTV News declares Liberal win.
Wow.
Do you know what would be amazing to watch? I'm glad they're doing this, because what if something just completely flips and it's not what they're declaring it's going to be? How stupid they would all look if that was the case.
I hope so. I hope that you see just like an absolute landslide. I don't think that's going to be the case, likelihood, but I would love to see it, honestly.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah.
Even up in Edmonton, there's 4 seats there that are still gray. There's like 20 something in Alberta. All the ones around Calgary, all gray. Those are all going to go blue mostly.
That's the thing. It'd be different if it was, and I understand, like, obviously, what are we looking at right now? Seats wise, I just had it up and then I exited. 134 Liberal, 89 Conservative.
Yeah.
I understand how that looks, sure.
Math wise, yeah.
But there's so many areas that still haven't been counted yet. So I feel like that's a bit of an early call still. Like,
I guess they're probably minority territory, I would say. I could get on board with that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Same.
But I guess they're saying Liberal government.
And you've got none of BC in that at all.
That's every year, baby. Every single election. It is very odd how things work.
I guess it'll just be I'm seeing, they're hit minority territory, which is interesting.
Well, listen, I mean, in that case, it's been really nice talking to you guys, and I'm taking those chicken wings home, okay? That's it, folks. It's a Liberal win. Peace out.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I've been saying. I'm curious, David, I want to bring this back to you. Is what was my prediction tonight was that we would see a Liberal minority win, and they'll take over. and they will get through the next 6 to 8 months. Everyone will see how bad Carney is, and we'll be back at the polls before the year is out. Do you think the same thing?
I still think the Conservatives can win. I was projecting it before they would get a minority. Because, I mean, look at what we have here. If you add them up, they may get more seats. But even if that does happen, and say, there's another thing to throw in there. Say if Carney doesn't win his, do they have that one counted yet in Nepean? If he doesn't win that seat, that's ridiculous in itself.
Right. You're right.
Right? Like the banker, he's not going to stick around. You think he's going to, I think he's going back to Brookfield.
Oh
yeah.
heck yeah. His wife is going back to New York. He's going back to Brookfield where they just moved. This is funny. My friend Greg from the Greg and Tim show just texted me and he said, looks like you guys all have a ton of content going forward.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we're screwed as a country. Frick.
Boom.
That is if they don't silence us.
Yeah. That's the biggest fear right there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, we're going conspiratorial here, but it was a weird thing, David. It was weird that 5 conservative channels all had glitching issues all at the same time earlier tonight. That we all had to end up taking our shows offline for a bit and before we go back on.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all live channels?
Yeah.
Like all at the exact same time.
That is
Solar flares, obviously.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie Signs? It's like the aliens coming.
Oh, don't even. That movie scares the bejesus out of me.
No, really?
It's the freaking creepy little crab people alien scene where he's like,
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate that I just did that. Also, that was embarrassing. Gosh. I'm going to stop talking.
Oh man. Yeah. So they're right now, everyone's saying liberal, at least a liberal minority right at this point. So they're projecting.
Is that, what are our thoughts on that? Roundtable, go. Starting with somebody start talking.
No, I think we're still going to get a conservative minority.
Really?
Yeah.
What is making you say that?
Because I'm looking at all of Alberta, all of BC.
Alberta's counted though at this point. That's a part of the total right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that we got to wait for BC to come in. There's a lot of BC that's not
BC,
counted.
like, unfortunately though.
They only have like 43 ridings.
Right. But I'm just thinking if the Liberals stay where they're at, why wouldn't the Bloc and the Conservatives just form government together?
They would.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
they would.
Because the Bloc has got 17, don't they?
20.
There you go.
Oh, BC's coming in right now. They just did Powell River, Aaron Gunn.
Oh yeah. There you go. So we'll see where this goes. And we'll see. When BC comes in, it'll be fascinating. But yeah, that we'll see I don't know. I still think we're definitely seeing a liberal minority regardless. Because I don't think conservatives in the Bloc are going to.
I want to show this text, but we can't read it.
Okay. Sounds good.
This is what my cousin just texted me. Oh gosh. Are we show and telling?
Yeah.
So
Oh no.
I'm curious what David, where BC will land. You said BC is going to land. You said the Conservatives will land 8 or 9 seats there, 10 seats there.
On Vancouver Island, it looks like they'll get 5, and then the rest of BC, except for Vancouver, will go blue.
Wow.
So you can add those up right now. I mean, there's some big ridings up there, but still, that's at least 7 or 8 right there, and then another few on the island. That puts them up to.
I'll get some.
I mean, they just jumped to 106. That pushes them up to about 120, and then it's just a matter of all the other ones coming in. I mean, there's still some right around Calgary that aren't. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll all go to Conservatives, and the Edmonton ones. Only one of those may go to
the Liberals.
To the Liberals. Oh, it's interesting. The Leduc went to the NDP, which is new.
Dude, they got 3 seats right now.
Oh wow.
Dude, they're done. Official party status is gone.
Do you remember what I said earlier?
We both said the same number.
No, you didn't. You said 7 and I said 3.
Oh, you did say 3.
I did say 3, and you looked at me like I was crazy.
You are crazy. They will get 7.
Dude. Oh my gosh. Corey tonight, I always say that wrong, is talking on CTV right now, just like talking some mad, angry words at the Conservatives about the strategic error they made in their campaign because they should have really been talking about Donald. I don't know. He doesn't sound like that at all. Yeah. But they should have been talking more about Donald Trump, apparently.
Ugh, gross.
What should they have been talking more about there, David?
I don't know. I mean, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous. I'm looking at this at Global, and they've got the check mark with government on Mark Carney.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just
Yeah,
baffled that there's so many people that seem to think this green grifter banker is going to somehow save Canada.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Well,
It
they're gonna
is
find
crazy. I
out.
don't understand people must just not know what's going on. That's the only explanation for this.
Well, I'm trying. Okay, so this is it. Where say the Liberals and get to 155 on a good day, they get to 155. They still need 19 more. Sorry, what was it? It's 172. I keep mixing that up. 172. So they still,
172.
yeah. So they're still going to need 17 more seats. Or sorry, 27 more seats. My math is so off tonight.
Man, you just had a baby. You're tired.
Yeah, honestly, like there's mom brain and there's dad brain is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
17.
Liberals need 35 seats right now to get a
Okay,
majority.
But here's the thing, though: 7.2 million advanced votes have not been counted yet.
Interesting.
So,
That could change things. So
like, isn't that odd?
let's say the Liberals get to 150, 155 on a good day. They still need 17 more votes or 17 more seats to get anything going in the House of Commons. Bloc's not going to support them unless it's some very specific things, and the Bloc are going to be the kingmakers on this. NDP's done.
Yeah, totally. And Jasmine, 17% of Canada is what we're talking about with those advanced polls.
Yeah, and those haven't been counted yet.
17% of Canada. That's a huge part of the population.
Well, especially when you consider the fact that what is it? It's just under 25% is typically the voter turnout in the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's, again, there's a lot of things there that are odd. Having said that, I mean, like I had hypothesized that it would likely end up being a Liberal minority to begin with, just because. Do I think that Canadians want change? Yes. Do I think they know where change is going to come from? Absolutely not. So I think that there are a lot of Canadians who they just don't know. And then you're also taught to criticize, shame, and ostracize anybody who tries to tell you, because that's just how things are in this country, unfortunately. So I'm not surprised at all by that if it does end up being a Liberal minority, but there are some things here, and just in terms of the timing of it, that's kind of odd. And again, those advanced votes that are kind of odd. And I'm not saying that this means that, oh, the Conservatives, they're going to end up winning. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in general, there's a lot of information still. And Josh, what's happening?
Something happened to Global's website.
Yeah, their
Everything
vote count
reset to
went
zero.
down.
Yeah, it just went down on mine too. Everything went down.
Fake news.
Dude, what's going on? What is going on with this country tonight?
Elbows up for China.
Oh man, I don't even know. Like,
Yeah,
this
CBC's
is-
down too.
This is such a weird night. Like, you know that stupid, I forget what her name is, the super woke girl. who did-
142 for Liberals right now, 104 for Conservatives.
There we are.
There we go.
Back up. So 147 Liberals now. New Democrats at 7.
Crap. I was really hoping I was going to get you with 3.
Wow, none of it went NDP.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's only 566.
Okay, wait, and what about Nepean?
Great question. David, do you know who got Nepean?
Yeah, it says Mark Carney got 72%, which I find that hard to believe, but
Gee.
It's better than 84.
Gee, what a wild time. The chat is right now. The chat's melting down, folks.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it's over. It's over. I will tell you this.
Josh is going to tell you this.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm not worried. There's not even a shred of me that's worried at the moment. First off, we have the Bloc Québécois, that's the kingmakers now. NDP's doing Jack. And you have NDP and the Bloc who are going to have to team up and then have to team up with the Liberals to get anything moved in the House of Commons, which we know that they all have conflicting ideologies these days. And this goes back to my point is, mark my words, if this stays where it is, we will be back at the polls before this year is out, and we will have enough time. That will be the amount of time people need to see Mark Carney get wrecked by Trump. He won't get anything moved. He won't get anything done. People see him right through him for what he is. The more Liberals realize what is going on.
It's been 100 days already, and he hasn't.
100 what?
It's been over 100 days since Donald Trump was inaugurated. Mark Carney, the man who's going to save him, what on earth have you done? Nothing. So,
Preach it, girl.
alrighty then.
Gee.
Stupid.
So,
But you know what the liberal argument? He hasn't had time to lead yet.
yeah,
I'm like,
You know.
let him lead and watch him fall apart.
I feel bad. I interrupted and I shouldn't have because you were on a roll. It was really powerful.
That was a great
empowering.
monologue. But that's where I'm at. David, do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I mean, let's just watch Mark Carney go up to Donald Trump with elbows up and see how that works out.
yeah.
Donald Trump's going to laugh him out of the room. He's like, come back when you put your elbows down.
Well, this goes back to my point is the article that came from Mark Carney's big group.
Bloomberg?
No, down south of the border, nonprofit. Butts is a part of it as well.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Malaysia Group. And we all know that their article that they put out where the elbows will immediately be going down as soon as the liberals get office. And nothing's going to happen. They're going to capitulate to Trump. They're going to capitulate to China. And we will have nothing left. Essentially, it's going to happen. So, oh man, New Democrats went down to 5 and Bloc Québécois picked up 2 more seats.
So you're telling me 3 is possible.
3 is possible. It's in shit.
Okay.
What if they land right in the middle between us two? That'll be wild.
Well, none of the NDP are locked in yet, so anything's possible at this point.
Yeah, dude. NDP gets 0.
Just
As long as the Liberals don't get a majority, Carney will get exposed for who he is.
Yeah.
And then whether it's, like you said, 6 months or 8 months, that's what's going to happen. You'll get exposed, and then we'll have another election, and you'll just get completely smashed. So
yeah.
What if
people shouldn't worry out there, like, whether it's we get the government now or in 6 months from now, we're going to get rid of these fools.
Yeah. I 100% couldn't agree more.
Well, and I think the frustration obviously will be much, much, much more sound. And the people who perhaps didn't vote this time around will be much more encouraged to actually go out and place those votes. But having said that, I mean, the conservator, that's funny. What am I? Amanda Bynes' manager. Funny joke, conservatorship.
Yeah,
Britney Spears. Whatever.
See more Britney Spears, but whatever. You keep going.
You literally sang Britney Spears at karaoke on Saturday. Crap, I forgot about that. But like the conservative vote has always been very dedicated. And this time around, I would say it was exceptionally dedicated.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting in terms of, okay, so what happens now? What does that look like? Because I don't believe at all that it's swing voters that would actually change anything for the party at this point. It's people who either need to be found in the bottom of the valley and look around and say, oh crap, I did this to myself and there is hope. And those people actually aren't as scary as I thought they were, who are actually maybe going to jump ship, like Ruby Dalla as an example. Yeah. Other than that though, I'm just kind of curious to know what that's going to look like. Right.
Yeah. And what I'll do, David, I'll give you the final word because we have to move to our next guest. But what is the last thing you want to say and get out before we end off here?
Well, just looking at it right now, we've got 115 for Pierre and 23 for the Bloc. So that's really what the number you want to be looking at. You add that up and you're at 138. Oh, Carney just jumped to 150. So that's really the comparison here.
Yeah.
So, and we still have, more to go. None of these are really, very few are even locked in. So
yeah, lots of leading polls right now that are returning in. So we'll see what happens. David, thank you so much for joining us and thanks for chatting with us. I'm yucking it up through all of our technical issues as well. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
No, man, you're the best. Stay strong. Keep doing awesome. And we're all going to have a lot of content to keep moving forward. So we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you, dude. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's it, man.
What do you mean that's it?
Well, that's it for our segment with David.
Yeah. Okay, I'm like, are we taking a pill together and like not gonna be here for much longer? Like I've seen that in movies before where there's a similar.
I mean, as I said, I go back to what I've been saying. This was the result I was 100% anticipating. It just this one is just far more interesting because the NDP is out.
Yeah,
it's now the Bloc Québécois who actually what their interests are actually more in line with the rest of Canada in a lot of cases. So it's going to make the Liberals' lives very hard. So people are melting down the chat. Oh, what's going to happen? Trust me, nothing is going to happen. Our parliament's going to be in a standstill. Not much is going to move. There are going to be some bills that move forward, but not much is going to move. And we will be back at the polls fairly soon.
Can I just make a side note quickly? Why did everybody else get the bring a laptop memo except for me? Like I'm literally here using the stand on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I was using my iPhone, but my iPhone died.
Well, I didn't know you brought a backup laptop. Nobody told. What happens when my iPhone dies? I'm at 20%.
We'll find some kind of a charger for you.
No, I'm taking one of your laptops.
Oh,
Yeah. There is too. That's awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. We are going to actually have Mark Nixon joining us fairly shortly here. And that will be fun because another BC boy. And he's captain of Boom Time. And, I'd love to hear his perspective on this result tonight.
I have a question, and I apologize because I think I'm actually just dumb and tired. So when it says, so I'm on CTV News right now, and when it says 151 Liberal, 118 Conservatives, is that the actual confirmed?
No.
That's the
just leading
gotcha.
And confirmed together.
Okay, that's what I was thinking it was, but I wanted to be sure.
Right now, 21 of those 151 are actual elected.
21. That's it. But the Liberals are forming government, just so you know, according to CTV.
And Global and CBC.
Based on 21 confirmed seats.
So how do they go about that? They just get a couple in a row and like they mark a little ticker and okay, yep, this is definitely going to be
well,
one.
If you look at the map, it's like a pale blue versus like a solid blue, or a pale red versus a solid red. That's kind of what you're seeing here. And so that's really what you're witnessing. I don't know if you want to shift to my desktop there. But that's all this is. So it's like the only the ones that are actually certain are the ones in Eastern Canada, right?
I'm in. Insane. I'm in. Finally, guys, I don't know what's going on there. I'm sitting there going, hey, let's get in here. Yeah. Nice. I knew that. I mean, you're looking at the polling numbers for so long, and this elbows up movement really pissed me off, by the way. Like, elbows up. It was one of the worst slogans. Like, it just bothers me, after 10 years of Liberals, and then they come up with this elbows up and then surge in the polls. It almost makes you want to vomit. It's just so bad. And that's the best that they could come up with. And then they have Mike Myers gets paid $54,000. He didn't come for free. He came because he got paid. He's a washed up actor, comes and gets $54,000. We found the receipt, right? And they go elbows up. The one thing that I thought was really funny was in the back of the jersey, it said never 51st state. And then somebody on the internet, I love the internet, by the way, because people go nuts with the memes, and that's what I'm worried about Carney. Like, if you go to the UK, 30 people a day are getting arrested for posting something online. And Mark Carney's like, I want to become more European. And the first thing, one of those press conferences when he said, yeah, there's just so much hate online and it's spewing out onto the streets. You know how scared that made me? And like, I can't imagine this guy getting a full power. It's first thing that they're going to go after is X, because that's kind of the free speech and that's where everybody's communicating. And yeah, it's just terrifying. Anyway, on the meme thing is they did elbows up and never Carney, because they just flipped it around. It was so good. I'm like, yeah, never Carney. Nice. It always backfires with the Liberals. They're like slogans, and everything they do is just so backwards. It just makes it. We don't even need to try with the memes with these people. They're just so easy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I've been watching the shows, basically the entire time. David made some good points. I mean, this is what we're hoping for here is there's no majority for the Liberals, right? And then if there's no majority, what's going to be interesting? I can't see Mark Carney with, sitting around with some minority and then sitting in the House of Commons. He's terrible. He can't speak to media. Every second word that he says is a lie. He's not a politician. He's not. He came here. He hasn't been here in 10 years. Why is he here? And you guys should have asked David about his web of companies. And oh my goodness, the amount of work he did there was outstanding. Yeah, he's not here because he wants to save Canada. He's not here because he cares about you. He's here because he's got this green thing. All his money's in this green thing. He's going to tell us we have to go green. No more gas cars. No more this. No more that. These Liberals, what they like to do is they like to tell you what you are going to do next. And they don't give us the freedom to choose. Like, if we are a free society, we're going to be meshing together. We're going to be working together. But if you're telling everybody what to do, it breaks us into pieces. Then we start fighting. Hey, it's just, somebody sent me, what's great about social media, and with me, I'm on all the platforms, YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok. So what I notice is not everybody's on all the apps. So I get different groups and different perspectives. Somebody sent me a picture of what's the difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives. And this picture summed it up pretty much for me. Was like, there's a lion in a cage at a zoo. That's the Liberals. And then there's a lion that's with the grass and his beautiful blue sky, and it's amazing. One is free to go wherever it wants. But yeah, there's some struggle. You might not be able to find food that day, but wouldn't you want to live a life where you could roam wherever and it's exciting, it's sad, it could be chaotic, but it could be you meet other tribes, you meet other people. And then there's the cage one where you get your meal at 8 a.m., 12 o'clock you get fed, the lights are out at 10, you're stuck in there, the people come and they you're taking photos with you, you're stuck in your cage, you can't meet other tribes, you're captive. You're captive. They'll tell you what electric vehicle you're buying. They'll tell you there's too much meat on your plate because that's methane. They're going to start counting all these carbon credits. So when you reach your amount of meat, you're finished. Isn't that insane? Yeah. So I mean, sorry for scaring everybody. But I also like to have fun and put things into perspective for people. No, exactly. We're more American than anything. We share everything with the US. I mean, 80, almost 85%, 80% of our trade is with the United States. Geographically, we can't just take the US and then move it away from us. We are married. Unfortunately, we can't go anywhere, and we need them for protection because we are one continent. We are together no matter what. So all he's doing with the fear, I read a bunch of I'm on the internet. I'm reading everything everywhere. And one of the things I saw was Mark Carney, the day after. So today's the election. The day after is going to call Donald Trump and actually do this deal, make a deal. There's no more 51st state threat. What really pissed me off today, guys, was Pierre Poilievre tweeting, basically, go F yourself to Donald Trump. Don't mess with our election. You've done enough damage. Enough's enough. And that tweet, when I checked at 3 o'clock, we're at 7:40 Pacific time right now. it was at like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And that's only on X, right? I mean, there's all the other social platforms. So, Canadians are pissed about that because we all know that the elbows up crowd, they're voting because of fear. And then on the other side, the conservatives are voting because of hope. We're hoping for a better future. We're not fearful. We're hopeful. And it's just so disappointing that, we were going for it's been 10 years. What are Canadians thinking? It's 10 years of the same thing. Let's change. Is it going to be better? We don't know, but let's try it because we've had 10 years of the same policies, destruction, printing money, and then now they want to print another $250 billion.
Right.
That is all inflationary. They have to print that money. We don't have that money. And that's why I make content saying, guys, they've been talking about the primary residence tax for how long now? That they're going to be looking at some way to, if they're not going to go after that, the only thing else. So the tax that they can't, the tax on Canadian citizens that they don't have to approve is printing money. And when they print money, it makes all of the assets go up in value. So all the Canadians out there that wanted to be able to buy a home, even though they're making all of these, these cargo ships and slap together this stuff that they're promising, it's still going to be a $500,000 for a cargo container. It's insane because if you print money, you're devaluing your currency. That's what it is.
Well,
we sold all our gold.
Yeah, and what's wild here is in Nova Scotia. Like one of my favorite sites here is one of the real estate websites that actually show the value of properties around our province, and things that you would look at and be like, oh, that's $60,000, that's $70,000 are now $220,000, $230,000, $250,000. And I'm looking at this going, there's no way if that burnt down tomorrow that you could rebuild it for like a fraction of that cost. Like it's insane seeing the inflation in our property values and in the price of these assets. And it's exactly what you said. When you keep printing money, what happens is the value of those assets keep going up and the purchasing power of the people keep going down. And I think that honestly, when you look at some of these predatory REITs and different industries that are owned by housing manufacturing organizations that fall under the
Brookfield Modular.
Yeah, I was going to say the Brookfield family of companies. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. We're seeing, and they're still talking about. They're saying, we'll build you a modular home that you will rent from the government, so that their assets still continue to go up, but the value of your purchasing power, your dollar, continues to go down. And so it's all about moving us. I heard actually somebody say like it's like we're returning to feudalism and fiefdom, where the great king sits on top and owns everything, and everybody else just works to survive and gets the opportunity to live in that area.
It's very funny that you say that, because I've been saying this for a long time, that Mark Carney in particular, the Liberal Party of today, is very much not a liberal party. It is very much a neoliberal party bordering on Marxism. Neoliberalism was first introduced primarily in the United States, I would say, is where it really grabbed hold in the 1930s. And then it was implemented in government from the 1960s before it absolutely crashed and burned in the mid 70s. And the reason why it did is because while it sounds so great, we're going to have all these opportunities, everything's going to be so great, and you do have a little bit of a boom, but what it actually does long term, and we've seen this play out in history now, not just in North America, but in other countries as well that adopted neoliberalism, which by all accounts is everything that Mark Carney has presented. It really does create a society of which you're pretty much run by the state and you're run by the oligarchs. And Mark Carney and Brookfield, as an example, very much in that, right? It's the elite of the elite. That is what neoliberalism actually creates. And it's not good. None of it is good, but it's this promise. And, it's really interesting too. I'm getting a little conspiratorial or hypothetical, whatever you want to say now. But when neoliberalism was first introduced in the 1930s, the way of the world back then was not good. And there were a lot of people who were really struggling. There was a lot of famine. There was a lot of poverty. There was a lot of suffering that was happening. So when they presented this idea of how the markets were going to work, this new economy, it was unbelievably appealing. Because it was one thing that was like, oh yeah, that's going to really help us because they're going to start investing in us, right? But the long-term effect didn't work. And I almost see that in today's day and age. And it's so interesting to me as somebody who's studied that at quite a good length as well. A lot of the things that Mark Carney has said, and also even just like when he was born, what he grew up in was really that same period in North America. And it's really interesting to kind of see Canada, we're second last in the OECD. We are last or second last in almost every category in the G7 because our productivity is terrible. Our growth is terrible. Our investment is terrible. All of these things have been really bad. And it's just so fascinating to me to witness a man who is an elite globalist man, self-admittedly, who has this idea for this new economy that's really going to help everybody because, life in Canada's been hard. Our economy's, it's been hard lately. Everything's been really hard. And it just, for me at least, being familiar with that style of governance, it's very interesting to kind of draw the parallels of what life was like when it was first introduced and it was really appealing. And because it was almost viewed as like this easy way out where thank goodness we finally have help. And it did work for a little while until it crashed and burned. And it's crashed and burned in every country that it's ever been applied. And the way that Mark Carney has been speaking to me or to us has very much been that same style. And it's coming after a period of time when we are really hurting. And there's a lot of people who they just want to be saved and they have all of this fear and whatever. So you're going to be the one to save me. But the end result of it is not good. It never has been. And then when you consider the amount of debt that our country already has, people don't think about that, but truly, the Conservatives voted against $10 a day daycare. They didn't vote against that because they hate your kids. They voted against that because it was hidden inside of a bill that had hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars of spending for other things that were completely irrelevant that we could not afford because that's
one second,
not how
I'm going to
it works.
say something about the childcare. One thing is everything they turned down is not because they're turning down the dumb liberal plan. Mm-hmm. Their plans suck. They're not turning down the daycare. They actually wanted to create 4 or 5 times more daycare spaces because there is no daycare spaces for anyone. So their plan is garbage. They're turning down the plan, they're not turning down it's like your liberal plan is garbage. That's what they're turning down. They want to create more than the liberals. That's why they turn it down. So sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's a very worthy interruption because that's something that people miss. Or it's not even that they miss it. They just don't think about it. And that's one thing that has actually really started to drive me crazy about the state of politics in Canada. And I've done so many videos about this. It was something I spoke with as well when I interviewed Polyev and Anna, Pierre and Anna, was because there's so many people who just run with these things. And we're at a point where, for whatever reason, I have many theories as to why this is, but I won't divulge into all of them right now. So many Canadians, we are past the point of questioning things and nobody has very few people have that really serious critical thinking. And it's so much easier to get caught up in the emotional contagion of a plan, of an idea, of an ideology, of a narrative than it is to sit back and say, why? And when it comes to those things, and it's really unfortunate because there's how many liberal or NDP, even voters, left-leaning voters, who despise the Conservatives because of things like that, like you just said, without ever once even asking themselves why.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump in there real quick and just say, I think that people just don't feel like they have the brain space or the time or their energy because you've created this liberal government has created an environment where you can't work one job and you can't have, a spouse stay at home. You can't even have a spouse and yourself work one job each. You have to have a side hustle and 3 marketplaces and your, spouse doing an OnlyFans on the side in order just to get by. You know what I mean? It's insane. The amount of people that I know that are oh, how do I get into whatever to make a few extra dollars so that we can afford like just healthy food, like healthy food being a luxury in this country where we have so much wealth, so much opportunity that we should never be in the state. That I think that people are so burnt out, so tired at the end of the day that they only have time for the headlines. And when the headlines are so skewed that what they're reading just makes them feel upset because they don't have the headspace to actually sit down and go, am I reading something credible? Because they're trusting that what they are getting is credible and they're not getting something credible. And I think that's what we're seeing. And Mark, I'm wondering specifically, because I know that you're in the real estate world, I want to kind of turn it back to you for a second. What are you seeing as far as, I know I'm hearing a lot about how in the States, like big companies, corporations monopolizing single family homes, that we're seeing kind of this transition away from home ownership of the everyday person. And I know we touched on that a little bit, but are you seeing that actually play out in the real estate markets right now where you're at?
No, not right now. So right now we're in and I think I spoke to you a bit about it right now. The entire country's real estate market is frozen. I'm going to describe something that I saw today. There was 400 or something homes in the Surrey detached homes, and only 3 of them sold in the last month.
Wow. 3.
The prices. Oh yeah, I know. It's mind blowing. Like even in Calgary, it's catastrophic across the country. Nothing is selling. It's this fear. It's locked up the whole thing. Prices have not come down yet. But when they start coming down, the people that are stretched and they have investment properties, it's not looking, we don't know what's going to happen. We can't foresee the future, but it's, I'm looking at the market right now and nothing is selling. What's next? What happens next? And when you have, this is kind of what happens. And we haven't really seen, like during the pandemic, the government came in and we spent that $600 billion in stimulus. So people, they lost their jobs, but they were propped up by the government. If there's job losses or, something, an economic turndown in the US and Canada, and, it's looking more, there's a possibility, there's always a possibility at any given day that does occur. And then we get job losses. And nothing's selling. I mean, that's that scenario where we're quite leveraged across Canada. Like we're one of the most indebted countries on planet Earth. $1.87 per over $1.87 for every dollar you earn. Think about that. It's just astronomical. The only way that continues is more debt, more growth. Growing, and then. It can't stop. It can't end. It has to continue, perpetuate, keep going. So yeah, I mean, maybe in the future when things become a little bit more clear, we could definitely have. I'm open to putting something together, and we could have a detailed discussion. I think that the key topic right now is who's going to win this election, and then what's going to happen with this country. I mean, Alberta, Quebec. There's some pretty unhappy, like our country's divided. Mark Carney's saying he wants to unify us. Mark Carney's dividing us. So we don't know what the future holds. Even for myself, I was born and raised in BC in the Lower Mainland. And honestly, I don't know. Am I moving to Alberta? And that's something I would never consider in the past. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people. I don't know. I heard Mr. Sunshine's moving to Alberta. He's already, yeah. So, it'll be interesting. But when there's clarity there, and I'm sure as the weeks come by, I think there'll be more information. The one I do want to mention something, and this is going back to our just before we talked the real estate previous conversation. And this is something that I, try to educate all Canadians, but the Liberals, conservative, anybody, is we have the second largest landmass on planet Earth. We have the second largest forest, like our burial forest across Canada. It's massive. Like we have one of the largest forests. We have the most water. We have the third largest oil reserve on planet Earth. We have some of the smartest people on planet Earth. We have countries from all over the world come here, so we have different cultures and perspective. We have the formula. If there was a formula for explosive growth and opportunity, Canada is it. More than the US. We have so much land, we have so much of everything, but we are run by the worst leaders ever. And that Pierre Poilievre gave us a little bit of hope. He wasn't perfect. No one is perfect, but it was just like, okay, we got like a plan to grow our economy. We have enough is enough with the wokeness and then foreign spending, like and unlimited immigration. Not that I like immigration, but if you're bringing in 1 million and building 200,000 homes every year, you're leading for destruction, because people are going to be living on the street. What happened? Everybody's got tents. Everybody's living on the streets. There's crime rates are blowing up. Well, of course we can't handle this much all at once. We have to do it in a sustainable way, and that's the whole thing. And that's why a lot of Canadians are looking like, we need this change, right? And we know, right? So this election is the biggest election in Canadian history. I've been working my ass off for 2 years trying to teach people, like, change is required here in Canada, right? And the people that watch my show or watch any of my content, they know that I'm trying to educate the masses in my own unique way. And I know you guys are doing a great job too, and that's why I really appreciate what you guys are doing, the movement that you guys are doing, and I believe in what you guys are doing. That's why I said yes to come on your show.
Mark, I wanted to just kind of jump back quickly to one thing that you said, and it's one of these things that I think that, again, people are too narrow-minded perhaps in how something sounds and makes them feel. But you spoke on immigration there, and I think that it is absolutely silly that anybody really has to go and clarify, like, oh no, I love it, like immigration's fine, because at the end of the day, immigration is something that our country was absolutely founded on in so many ways. And immigration can be lovely when it is done properly. And, you point to people, the homelessness, the tent cities, all of these things that are so bad. And the one thing about that topic in particular that I just detest so much, the rhetoric around it, is that there's so many people who say, oh, well, conservatives are bad and mean because of, they're anti-immigration. And it's like, actually, do you want to know what's really bad and mean? It's promising somebody a future and promising somebody an escape from a really bad situation, and them trusting you and coming to your country only for you to not hold up your end of the bargain, and for them to have spent absolutely everything that they had in some cases to come here, and to be stuck here now, away from home, away from family, and to not even have some of the basic needs. Like the average wage in Canada is at minimum $5 below an hour, if you're judging it that way, what is actually needed to support yourself. And as Reg was saying before too, to buy a home in this country, most provinces, you cannot afford a home on a single income. You just can't. And in many cases, you can't afford one on a dual income either. And I really think that the conversation about so many of these topics needs to get away from people who just immediately jump to, oh, you're a bad person because you don't believe in this. And it's like, well, no, but what is the outcome of that though? Because again, the bad person portion is not me saying that I wish everybody could live the best life imaginable in this country. The bad portion is promising somebody that they can do that, knowing that you are going to fail them and you are going to screw them over and you are going to ruin their life, when maybe they could have gone somewhere else that could have managed them better, where they could have had those opportunities. And now you've just got them all caught up in your own system. And I think that right there has been the real failure of the Liberal Party, and all of these promises that they have that sound so pretty on paper, but when you actually break it down, it just has caused nothing but a lot of unnecessary suffering for Canadian citizens, immigrants, students, and everybody alike. And it's just so disappointing the way that those conversations have gone. And in many cases, they've gone in that direction due to an ideological base that's not based in the reality of it. And it's based more so in just shaming somebody for disagreeing with whatever the narrative is. That is all that I had to say about that, because it was just something that came to mind.
Can I?
I'm
going to give you a
mention
poll
something.
update real quick. The Liberals are at 158. Conservatives are at 143, and the Bloc.
I know. I'm watching it live with you guys. I'm looking up. I'm going, this is actually looking pretty good right now.
Hey guys, it's a Liberal win.
And there's a
Well,
lot.
you know what?
Like there's a lot of trending seats within Toronto, or sorry, the GTA right now. That are like ahead by 200, 300 votes. They're nowhere near being decided right now. Like lots can change over the next hour and a half.
It's so bizarre that they called it when they did. Hey.
Yeah, way too early.
Everyone go to bed now. Could you imagine waking up to a conservative minority when you went to bed and seeing that?
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes.
Wild.
It's looking good. I mean, there's BC. We're not one thing that I'm noticing in BC is Vancouver Island's NDP. I don't know. I thought Aaron Gunn was going to do. Okay, one thing you have to think about is, I'm going to ask this question for you guys. We had record, and I mean absolute record turnout for advance voting. Record shattering, almost 8 million, 7.9 million people. Do you think that those people showed up to vote early because they were okay with status quo? Or did those people be like, I'm ready for change, and flooded to so I don't know. Like my thought is like, why would I be eager to vote if it's like, same, right? I just feel like, I know there's going to be some eager liberal voters, but I just feel like a movement of change would have brought out maybe potentially more people.
I agree with you. I do agree with you to a point. The issue is, I think we downplay how important that Trump is bad narrative actually worked on people. I'll give you an example. I have some friends who were very motivated to vote, some of which believed, no word of a lie, Mark, I'm telling you the truth on this, no word of a lie, told me that they were looking into how to acquire guns to be able to fight off an American invasion. These are the people that really believe that Trump was going to come in and take over Canada. They actually believed it. And that's why I was really upset with Carney and the Liberals really trying to press on that nerve of fear in these people, because that got them to vote. I'll be honest. So I think it was a mixture of people on the conservative side really want to see change, but as well as the people who came out in fear saying, oh my gosh, we need Carney to fight against Trump. And they really did believe it.
And I'll say one other thing too, is when I talk to my circles, people believe that Carney has changed. They actually believe that he is somehow different from the rest of Liberals, because when I was talking to them, they were like, oh, well, when Trudeau was in power, I was going to vote for Poilievre. But now that Carney is in, I'm so glad we're going to get a change in this government. We're going to see a new direction heading forward. And I'm like, you guys, the front man is different, but the entire people around him is completely different.
Also, is the front man different?
No, but the front man's been around for 5 years providing economic advice.
Exactly.
He's not, it's his advice that has got us here.
Exactly. But the thing is, though, for them, they're looking at this, they believe that the Liberal Party is completely renewed. It's a new party. I literally had a guy telling me, he's like, well, now that Mark Carney's there, it's like we already had an election and the Liberals already changed. I'm like, are you actually serious right now? And then the weirdest part is that he was quoting off facts, and he was like, oh, well, wasn't Poilievre like in the Bloc Quebecois at some point or something? And I'm like, what? Like, it's just, there's so much confusion out there.
Somebody told me today that, and bless him, but somebody told me today that, well, Pierre Poilievre has voted against trans rights. And I'm like, when was there ever a bill about trans rights that Poilievre voted against? No.
Yeah, it's just this mass hysteria around ridiculous topics that don't even exist right now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just It's wild.
It's pretty interesting because so Jasmin was kind of describing how, her points about, the population and they're against the conservatives. People are forgetting that we are the outlets, us, us that are speaking today, right now on this, we are the news for Canadians, because the other news that everybody's watching, CBC, and reading all the newspapers and all that, it's all paid for by the government. We don't get the real story. And guess what? They're so bad. They're so bad. They don't even do their job because I get my bonus. I don't give a shit. There's no reporting and I'll give you a prime example. And this is just breaking news, like from yesterday or whatever, is that, oops, we forgot to ask him, Carney, about the 51st state when he told us that the conversation with Donald Trump, he respected me and Canada's sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
We didn't think of asking about the 51st state. So it's our fault. They said it's our fault. I honestly, if I could throw something, just throw something and break the TV. I was so angry. I was like, these people are so incompetent and useless. That is not reporting. And then for them to blame themselves and not Carney, it's just so infuriating. And this is a prime example of all of these people saying, oh, they're going to cut your dental care. Oh, they're going to cut your child care. Oh, they're going to axe everything. And they believe it, but it's not real. It's all manufactured. We have lost so much rights and privileges and everything under this government, and our finances are garbage. Wake up.
Also, did you
we're not doing that good. We don't even have childcare. At least I don't. I can't get a spot.
There's a lot of provinces that don't, but thank you for saying that, because I'm sorry, I was interrupting you there to say, did you see that according to letters that were sent out in Ontario, and I received this from dozens of people, like different pictures of the same letter from different people who emailed me saying, you need to talk about this. There was a letter sent out to residents in Ontario from the education board, I don't know, whatever the heck it's called out there, saying that the Liberal government did not extend the childcare program or whatever. Yeah, that's what it said on there. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was saying that there were many of the centers that initially had $10 a day that were going to then be increasing to as much as $22 a day because the Liberals did not guarantee the federal portion of the subsidy. And that was effective when was it? Mid-May, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It was May 23rd or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's wild because I am now in a subsidized daycare, but it's not $10 a day. Mm-hmm. We're in the getting to $10 a day daycare. And I will say that it is a whole hell of a lot better than the $1,000 I was spending a month on daycare, but I'm still spending $500 on daycare. And the other part of it, I look at it, I'm like, I wouldn't need a government handout to pay for my daycare if I wasn't paying $50,000 a year in income tax.
Yeah. Well, that's the
yeah,
thing.
sure.
That's the thing. Yeah. It's really great to rely on the government when you need to. Why do we need to?
Exactly. And that's the part that makes me insane. And the other part too that I look at, I'm like, we're beholden to this daycare. And I'm like, no shade to the daycare publicly, but the fact that I got 2 emails last week. The first email being like, hey folks, can you pay us early? I'm going on vacation to Mexico. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm going to pay you when I get paid. The next email that said right after that was, by the way, we're shutting off the heat until the fall, so please dress your child in layers. I was like, the audacity of this daycare, because they know that we're stuck with them because they're the only ones in our area that have the government subsidy granted to them, that they know that we're up the creek without them. So they can literally turn off the heat on a toddler and save a couple extra bucks for themselves because they know that we're stuck with that daycare, because otherwise we'll have to pay $1,000 a month. It's absurd. And that's what we're seeing. And the fact that Pierre Poilievre has come out multiple times saying we're 100,000 spots less than what we were before the subsidy went into play.
Yeah. Well, and also wait lists are unreal. I know, again, Ontario wait lists are anywhere. They used to be about 2 years. Now they're anywhere from 4 to 6.
Dude, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I just gotta
I gotta break. Yeah, I was just gonna say it. Things are getting crazy back there.
At 147.
I need to charge my phone.
We have Liberals at 156. Sorry, Mark. Give me 2 seconds. And so it's moving so quickly. We could literally see right now Conservatives and Liberals having the exact same amount of seats in Parliament, and then the deal breaker will be the Bloc Québécois.
I love it. I love it.
Crazy.
block.
So if you take a look at, okay, so one of the things that I was watching is in Alberta, if you look at the city centers, both Calgary and Edmonton, they were supposed to go, well, they were battlegrounds. And Liberals actually thought they were going to win the core. If you look at the map right now, I only see two. I see Calgary Center within 400 votes. So it's so tight. It's like right there, a few percent. And then Calgary Confederation is 150 votes right now. And that's the only Liberal in Alberta.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then there's one NDP that's NDP's winning by 8 votes. So
it's also tight. It all can move so quickly.
It's
right?
looking nice and blue in Alberta. I love Alberta.
Well, here's the thing. This is the one thing I'm finding wild is the fact that they could be even in seats. And what I'm hearing now, our chat is reporting this, so this is all alleged, but apparently CTV is officially backtracking on Liberals winning government.
But again, though, and I don't want to just roast them, but it's like, well, why?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Why? What was the reasoning behind that? Why did you confidently say that? Mm-hmm. Oh, that is going to be such great content.
Oh yeah, dude, we are freaks.
Like even if it is even if it is a liberal minority, I did get word from somebody who's actually at the Pierre event tonight, who said that it has officially been declared a liberal minority, but also that was a little while ago, so I don't actually know if that is still accurate. But even if that was the case, it is still something that again just deeply reflects like, well, chill out. Like why? What was the purpose for that?
Dude, all I know is if it stays like as it is with 155 Liberals, 149 Conservatives. Man, Parliament's gonna be wild.
Yeah, those would be some good QPs. Mark, I had a question for you as well, and this is kind of irrelevant, I suppose, but it's something that a lot of people have been asking about, things that I've definitely wondered. What is your fear in terms of censorship and things like that if a Carney government was to form?
I think the one thing they're gonna do is. Basically, they're going to use a few people as example. That's what they always do. They're going to do like, if you look at the trucker convoy, they picked a handful of people and said, we're going to charge you and put you in jail. Like, it's all about fear with them. They know how to do it. They know how to make fears. So I think what they'll do first, and they're already doing it, by the way, they're already doing it. So, and the reason I know that is on my different social media platforms, for example, TikTok, once I reached 100,000 a year ago, now I'm close to 200,000. When I reached 100,000, my reach became so large that honestly, so when I speak, I'm 70% cut down. Like I only speak about 30% of my thought. And often I don't even say words. I say, can you just imagine? I can't finish my sentence, even though I want to. I wish it was full free. We don't have free speech. No. Otherwise, I would be able to say whatever. I have to tone it down. And even at 30%, from 100% down to 30%, I often have videos that get flagged or taken down. And I have to dispute saying, I didn't say anything wrong. My video is fine. And then, oh, yeah, you're right. Because I put out good content and I'm careful of what I say. I say it in a professional way. Maybe it's not mainstream media approved because what they're providing us is fake news. It's factual. I provide data sets. I provide real stuff.
You have the receipts.
And I have the receipts, but they don't like the receipts, right? When you show, and often when I have people come onto my page, some liberals or different people, different perspectives, they come into the comment section. They never dispute what I said. It's so funny. They just try to discredit me. Yeah. Oh, they'll never discredit the information. I don't get that many people actually come on and say any, most people are respectful. What I actually notice is if somebody says something, then there's an army of people that go, yeah, beat it.
Yeah.
Beat it, bot, or, so.
Yeah, you don't have to do
but
it.
yeah, Yeah, so we're already seeing, the algorithms, and they're not. What was interesting is I'm noticing that some other content creators were, left leaning. They get 1 million views, and I'm like, that content was not very good. And then somebody else that has a different point of view, maybe center or right, amazing piece of content where it's like I'm pressing share, I'm pressing like, and I know everybody else is, but it's not getting pushed anywhere. It's just dying. It's not going anywhere. So they're already playing with the algorithms. So that's why when you hear like people on your channel, on all our channels that are, independent media or voices in Canadian voices, and we say, hey, share this, like it, comment, it's for real, because we need your help to grow this thing. Without you guys, we can't grow this. They're not going to help us. They're going to suppress us. And so they're already doing that. And then the people that are really on the edge and poking real hard, those people, I believe they're going to go after. They'll probably go after their money source. That's the first thing they'll go after. And if that doesn't work, because there's other platforms, there's different ways that you could, continue on, like Rumble or different, different platforms that they probably can't touch. At that point, they'll find something, they'll do something, and then everybody will be scared, right? Nobody wants to get, we're honest, hardworking Canadians. We're doing nothing wrong. We're just sharing our insight, sharing our stories, and doing a hell of a lot of research and providing some pretty good content for people to and we have receipts too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And what's great is we have a great community, so we'll be able to share this information with others and say, hey, this is kind of what's happening. So we need all of your help out there, viewers. Help us out, get the word out, share our stuff, like our stuff. Let's grow this thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's we actually have another guest waiting for us, Mark. But
okay, yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much for coming on. Jasmine's gonna have one last question, but I just want to let you know that I think you're amazing. You're the bomb. I love what you do, and I love the energy you bring to it. So thank you so much for coming on, Jasmine. Last question.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say I am a super huge fan. So thank you so much for chatting with us. It was like truly such a pleasure to get to know you a little bit better and pick your brain. Very well spoken and everything. So thank you.
Well, you guys are all stars too, so it's all around. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm going to keep watching, so I'll be in the comments section.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Mark. You're the man, and you were as much part of this as any of us, and I just love to get that we get to do this all together. You're awesome.
Hey, and by the way, 156, 149.
Woo! Yeah!
Let's do this, Canada. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Update, Mark. Update. 154 Liberals, 151 Conservatives.
Oh, yeah. Let's go, Canada. Let's go. That's what I'm saying. It's not over yet. It's not over. Let's go.
All righty.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mark. You're the man.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Dude, this is crazy what's happening right now.
I just want to know why. Like, sorry, I hit that. Why did they call it? 2 hours ago.
Yeah. It's quite frankly, like, I'm not gonna lie, even myself reading that, I was like, we were talking here, I was like, yeah, I guess that's what it's gonna be, I guess, like, if that's how it's gonna go. And then, and you think about how many people, especially on the East Coast, are it's like, well, all right, we've got a liberal government, and I guess I'm going to bed. And they're gonna wake up tomorrow to something drastically different. They're gonna find out, say the Liberals have a minority government by 1 seat over the Conservatives, but they're going to do nothing because the Bloc actually aligned more with the Conservatives than they did the Liberals. And it's going to be, and the best part about it, if that happens, Mark has that 1 seat over the Conservatives, he's going to get all the press for everything that the Conservatives and Bloc pass in Parliament. Yeah. and the low IQ voters are going to be like, the heck, I thought this guy was going to bring change. Yeah. Oh, he smokes. This is one of probably the most interesting elections I'll admit I've ever seen in my
154
life.
to 152 now.
Gee.
Like,
my friend is going to be really sad because she texted me a little bit earlier and said, because I paint on the side. A lot of people know that I paint, and I've been working on a painting for her for literally months. Yeah. And it was supposed to be done a long time ago, but then I got caught up in the election, and I'm like, girl, I'm just really busy right now. Like, I literally don't have time to finish your painting. And she texted me earlier. She said, maybe you'll have time to finish my painting now. If the Liberals win, I don't know, like, you'll get canceled. You can finally do it. Geez. Well, sorry, girl. It's not coming.
Gee, that is wild. I think the one thing people are talking about too, I want people to keep an eye out. Brandon, could you send back to my screen again? People are talking right now that Pierre is losing by about 200 votes in his riding. But the problem is, think about it, folks. Only look at that top left corner number here. 266 polls are reporting right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
lots of
gosh.
time. Nothing's happening here, folks. All right, there's nothing.
Well, and not to mention his projection to win was 96% yesterday.
Yeah.
So
and even so, like I know we were roasting Sean Fraser earlier. He's now winning in his riding. So
why did you have to tell me that?
I'm just telling people like things change.
By how much?
Let's look. He's winning by pretty much. He's winning by 3,032. Sorry, that's another one. He's winning by 1,900 votes.
Gosh, now somebody's gonna clip that earlier. I was so excited.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Everyone's gonna clip
he
us.
He just wants to be with his family. Honestly, Canada, this is rude of you.
Why are you taking this man away from his family?
He told
Canada?
you he wanted to be with his family.
Gee. Holy smokes.
God, I hate that guy.
Think of the children. Think of the children.
Oh, he's jumping. Yeah, that's it is fascinating. I feel the one person I feel the most bad for right now is
Jasmin
Brendan,
Laine.
our producer.
That too.
I was like, yeah, well, we'll go until this thing kind of ends, but we're realizing this thing's just going tonight. This thing's going.
I just got a text from Polyev headquarters. We are so back. 3-seat difference right now.
All right, folks. We have another visitor joining us. Portuguese Pie, Mike Madero. How you feeling, big dog? How are you holding up? Are you watching this election results, and how are you feeling about them?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Nope.
Well, we technically our viewers can. We can't. We're just looking at camera lenses right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, first off, thank you guys so much for having me on. Appreciate
I
it.
swear, I was so scared you were going to say, how many fingers am I holding up? I was like, oh my gosh.
No. Yeah, I just been following along with you guys. Every other stream, like you've mentioned at the start, has been just crashing. So
Yeah.
That was
just been
crazy.
trying to keep on track with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that you've been following us. I appreciate it. It's funny, these seats are going up and down, but the margin keeps shrinking little by little. So we just heard, what was it, 154 to 152 was? Now it's back to 156 to 149. But the fact that seat margin is shrinking every time, it's the largest it's getting, is even getting smaller every time. So I think that is fascinating.
It's encouraging because you look at this and you go, okay, the CBC and CTV and everybody else was like, oh, easy Liberal win. And now we're like, is it?
Oh,
So
yeah. Mike, sorry, I actually don't even, where are you based out of?
So I'm in Ontario, obviously, but I'm in Oshawa. That's where I live.
The dirty
Okay.
schwa.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm fairly new to the Schwa. I've only been here for like 4 years. So basically, when the pandemic hit, that's when my wife and I got a house.
yeah. And so where were you coming from before that?
I was in Toronto then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife's from Toronto. So we love pulling people out of Toronto because it's just crazy how affordable there.
I got to ask, how are you feeling about just kind of this big switch that we have right now? I mean, I just refreshed it, and it's literally Liberals have 94 elected, Conservatives are at 91 elected. What's your gut telling you?
I mean, obviously, I'm voting for Pierre, and this is. It's gotta go the way that we need. Like a conservative minority is basically useless. I know we have the power with the bloc if they do decide to pitch in, but it just has to be a majority. I just feel like it has to be a majority.
It'd be very hard with the Senate and everything too. There'd be a lot stacked against you. It'd be a start, certainly, but difficult.
And like that's the thing, right? I mean, with the Senate, what is it, 103 senators that the Liberals have put into place, like, and just more that are conservative that are planning on retiring soon, that they're worried about being replaced again with more Liberal senators. So you're going to be fighting the Senate, you're going to be fighting the judiciary, and then if you don't have that power in the House, it's going to be really, really hard to pass things unless you use things like non-withstanding clauses and emergency powers and things like that to actually move things through, because otherwise you're going to be fighting such a huge uphill battle against those two other branches of government that have frankly been stacked by the previous government.
No, I'm sure like you guys, you're probably the politic nerds of your groups, of your friends.
True.
Yeah, so I've been just getting flooded with messages from my friends. What do you think's gonna happen? Who do you think's gonna win? Somebody just spam me the crying emoji because they're looking at the numbers. It's just like, hold on, folks. The night is not over. But yeah, people very much are very concerned with this election right now.
For sure.
Well, it's one of those things like if you're a liberal voter, you're not loving this. If you're a conservative voter, you're not loving this. Like, it's just one of those things where nobody is happy. Like, this is the election of discontent, honestly. So
that goes to signal just like the great divide, though.
Exactly.
And why was that divide made? So that the ruler could continue to rule, and proven by the fact that the Liberals under Mark Carney pretty much just took everything that the Conservatives were doing and said, that's a great idea. We're going to do it too. And decided to take all of the credit for it while still saying, oh, but that guy, yeah, we may have cheated on his homework, but he's still a bully, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they kept complaining, oh, Pierre's had 2 to 3 years, he's been asking for this election, yet he comes out with his platform so late. It's like, why do you think that was the case?
Yeah, well, it's almost every year,
we have prime
too.
example of how many times they kept taking things from him.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, I look at it and I hear Canadians when they say, well, if we get the policies that are going to benefit us, does it really matter which party it comes from? And to that I say, 100%, because the policy might be a good policy, but it's how it's enacted, who's doing it. Like, that's the part that matters, because that with Pierre, like, he's trying to strip away power from the federal government and give it back to the people and say, we're getting out of building you houses. You can build your own if we just take some of the legislation away and make it easier for you to do for yourself. Whereas Carney's like, whoa, we've got to put more legislation on, create more bodies, regulate this even harder so that there's no possible way you can do it for yourself except through me. So that's the part where I'm looking at this. It's like, yeah, they both have a policy where they want to build, 100,000 more homes per year. But it's how is this going to be done is the question. Like, when we look at dental care and the way that they've kind of put that through, and Sun Life getting a stupid amount of money from that policy, and the Conservatives saying, we don't want to get rid of dental care. We just want to make it make sense.
It can't be top down. I think that's probably their biggest thing, is the Liberals and with the NDP coalition have all voted for and passed and approved all of these things that are top down, one size fits all. That's not how life works. In fact, if you ever buy a one size fits all, chances are it's not going to fit you in a couple of years. Like,
or even now, it looks awful frumpy.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of that as well. They keep saying like they like Pierre's policies, but they don't like Pierre. So it's like the policies they like, but they like Mark Carney kind of implementing them. But I'm like, he wouldn't implement them the same. He would just pick and choose what he wants. But his whole platform is just complete chaos.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa Raitt, that's exactly what Lisa Raitt said when she was visiting Atlantic Canada and then in parts of Ontario, was like, that's what she was hearing when door knocking, where people are like, I love the Conservative platform, but I just don't like Poilievre, but I like Mark Carney. I just hate the Liberal platform. And it's just like, that's just what people were like. People are going off the vibes a lot, unfortunately, but that's just what people are going off of here.
Well, and I also think too, like, people are looking at this, it's the resume thing too, right? People are going, oh, he's been to Harvard, he's been to Oxford, he's had these very prestigious roles, which I've already said on the show before. Like, they just recycle people in those high level positions. Like, they have a pool of executives that they just move around. Like, we saw it happen in Nova Scotia, where the head of the Port Authority became the head of the Health Authority because she's in that elite pool of candidates. They just move around. And so with Mark Carney, same thing. He shook all the right hands, kissed all the right babies, got to a level where he could actually be in this pool of elites that they just move around to these like ceremonial positions where you don't really have to know a whole hell of a lot. You just have to be able to talk the talk, walk the walk, and shake hands with the right people. And so I think that's what Canadians just don't really understand about this. They're like, oh, well, in order to get to that higher level, that upper echelon, he must have like done something really fantastic. And it's like, I don't think so. I think that he probably did some hard work to get where he needed to be, but then once he was there, he was set. So
I'm officially mad.
What's up?
I'm going to have to leave and go eat a chicken wing. Stephen Guilbeault was reelected.
Who was that?
Stephen Guilbeault.
Oh yeah.
Reg, you
that
got
was
mini
gonna be
eggs,
a,
right?
That was gonna be
Oh,
a
yeah.
tough one for
Let's
them
bring
to
him in.
lose.
Mini eggs right here.
I need a mini egg.
Pass them around.
There we go. Not sponsored.
Ow!
Not sponsored. How? I mean, I think it's fairly.
Not sponsored, but Cadbury mini eggs. If you are interested, I will promote the hell out of you.
I feel like Cadbury mini eggs are one of those things that like really don't need a lot of promotion. Everybody just loves them.
Yeah, but I'll take the money anyway.
Yeah, of course.
That's
I'll take the money too. You Portuguese spot, you want some money too?
Yeah, I'll definitely take a sponsorship here.
Yeah. But I'll throw you here, Mike. You know, how long you been doing YouTube now for?
So this is a kind of an interesting question. I'll just say 2 years. I've been on the platform for like maybe 8, but like actually putting out content, yeah, I think roughly 2 years.
Okay, so very similar to us. Me and Reg, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
the
you've really picked it up
the
more in the last
political
2 years.
stuff has been very recent.
Yeah.
Before I started off with just like reactions to stuff, and
Mhm.
it was kind of a reaction channel, and then it's. My wife was watching a lot of Question Period, and every day I'd come home and I'd see her watching this. I'm like, what is so interesting about this? And then I started just getting involved, and now she's completely out of it. And I've just like, I'm the guy in the family now that is just all about the politics. So
That's fair.
She's
Yeah.
like, you took my hobby.
And now you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's we
I gotta tell you guys this. Jagmeet Singh,
Did he lose his riding?
liberal is definitely in the lead, 158 right now. Conservative 148. Jagmeet Singh is at wait, what is this? Yeah, sorry. I was reading the wrong thing. Liberals at 326, conservatives at 292, Jagmeet Singh is at 210.
Ooh,
third
Wow.
place.
rough.
Wow, not even second.
I'm gonna throw it back to the super chats here for a quick second.
Yeah, hit us, baby.
So David Lulowski says the biggest winners, if there is a liberal win, will be the lawyers on retainer for the Alberta government. Taiga Nix says, are advanced votes counted? That's a good question.
Not
I don't
yet.
think
No, they're
they
still not
are.
yet.
Yeah,
Which are going to make a difference in some of these ridings,
they are going to make a difference.
especially the amount of advanced votes that were cast.
Yeah,
It's going to make things very interesting.
like I said, 17%.
CPC is up 9 seats in the GTA right now.
Yeah,
But yeah, I saw that.
Nancy coming in hot saying, good to see y'all. Come on, Canada, let's stick together.
Yep, gotta stay positive. This is the thing. Where it's like I was just amazed. I don't know if you were seeing this at all online here, Mike, but our chat was filled with people like, "Oh, it's over at 10 o'clock tonight. It's done.
Yeah,
here we
I've
are."
watched it from the start,
And
and
we don't-
It's
like-
been just up and down for sure.
Absolutely. Now we're seeing I think at the end of the day, we're probably going to see probably a 3 to 5 seat difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives, I think, when this is all said and done. And it's going to be real interesting. So,
Yeah, I don't know. And like, you look at it, and I'm like, the Bloc and the Conservatives could form a coalition government.
Yep.
They have the seats to do it.
yeah, they have the numbers.
So, and
How is Yves Blanchette doing? Is he poised
He's
to win?
killing it.
or-
oh yeah,
He's awesome.
He's
okay.
killing it.
He hates Carney, which is a huge plus. And then 2, he like the Bloc platform and their beliefs align a lot more with the Conservatives and what Pierre's trying to do for Canada. So it's like it would be very interesting to see those two pair up.
yeah. So Jasmin Nicole says they started counting advanced votes in the East about an hour ago.
Okay.
Wow.
So
This
yeah.
is very interesting. So in terms of actual elected seats right now, we have 105 Liberal, 101 Conservative, 17 the Bloc, 1 NDP, 0 Green.
Wow.
the Green Party. Such an
They're holding on for dear life. aren't
Yeah.
they?
Interesting.
I have told this story a few times, but never publicly, but I once met Elizabeth May many years ago. Like we're talking like 12, 13 years ago, something like that, at a hippie colony.
What?
Yeah, those
Wow.
exist, by the way, where I come from.
Okay.
They're the coolest places in the world. Spent my childhood in those because they were down the street. But yeah, she was a lovely lady at the time. I don't quite know what happened.
I don't know. I've seen some of her comments after she's had a few drinks, and it's not a good scene. So I don't know if the stress of Ottawa has gotten to her, but
Okay, also, didn't she announced that she was stepping down months ago, right? And then they had her replacement. I'm just very confused about all of that to begin with. That's a non-issue. That's just my own head speaking at the moment. But yeah, very interesting to see how all of this is turning out today. And it seems very silly that things were called the way that they are. CTV has also officially changed their breaking news headline, where it's now saying CTV News declares liberal minority. They also had one a couple minutes ago that said two-party minority. So yeah.
I love it. It looks good on them.
Yeah.
Call something that early with like so much of the country not even accounted for. Good.
But we
Good
have
for them.
science and polls. We know better than all you jabronis. All you unsmart people, all you YouTubers, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why we're here.
I had a question for you guys. Why do you think Atlantic Canada votes Liberal a lot of the times?
I'll let Reg answer that one.
That was a great pass.
I know.
He knows the history a lot better.
As the Atlantic Canadian here. So I think what you're seeing here is that Atlantic Canadians do rely a lot on the federal government. I think that there's a lot of candidates here that are well liked and well known in the community that are in the Liberal Party. Honestly, like I know that the folks in my riding and in ridings adjacent to mine that were Liberal did a really good job connecting with community. So there's like a local bakery by where I live that's like really good for doing outreach in the community. They do a lot of charity work. The Liberal candidate was the first one over there to go talk to them, and everybody saw that. And I had said to the Conservative candidate, I said, listen, you got to go talk to them. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. And then I was also like, do you know about this nonprofit? And he's like, no. I was like, you need to talk to them. They are responsible for a large swath of my riding. And it feels like the Conservative candidates just weren't getting into community. Now I say that, and you look at Rick Perkins' riding, and Rick is like excellent at being in community. And so I'm not quite sure what happened in his riding. I don't know if it's completely called. I think it is called for his opponent.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody in your chat say that he lost his seat.
He did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Terrible.
Yeah, that one's a shame.
Yeah.
And
I always love him in the House. He's a great speaker. In committees, he's amazing. I loved him on your guys' podcast that he came and he did that interview with you guys.
Yeah. No, he's a go-getter. So I'm kind of surprised that happened in that riding.
But lost by close to 5,000 votes.
5,000 votes.
Wow. Okay.
That's insane.
People were running scared in that riding.
Yeah.
Maybe that means he has time to be my full-time best friend now. I truly do. I absolutely adore Rick Perkins. He is a very lovely gentleman.
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in it. It is still interesting, though. Liberals are now at 163 to Conservatives 146.
Is that...
The Conservatives keep
leading and elected together. Again, not putting a lot of stock in it, just interesting. Because with that number, they aren't, but if they were to stay the same, NDP and Liberals could have another minority government.
Dude.
Oh my God.
Don't even talk to me. Like
that would be
traumatize
rough,
us like that.
Don't worry, Jugmeat won't be leading. So,
that is outrageous, isn't it?
We'll give him some space to think about if he wants to continue leading the party, even though we've had what was it, a 30,000 signature. What's the word I'm looking for?
26,000 signature to oust him.
Yeah, that's it. And they said, but like what? Like,
so if you're
petition.
just tuning
That's
in by
crazy
chance and
there.
missed it, it was something that we talked about earlier on the show today, where it was the campaign manager for the NDP who declared that whether or not Jagmeet Singh loses his seat, he will not be going anywhere, and they are going to let him take his time because they just respect and admire him so very much.
Yeah, Julia coming in and saying Carlton is worrying me. we talked about that. You're only seeing such a small portion of the polls actually reporting in that riding. And that's probably honestly because the stupid longest vote crap that makes
the
it so hard to
candidates,
tally those votes.
These titles are just awful. Carney's Liberals beat Conservatives. CTV News declares.
Who's that one?
This is from CTV.
Oh, that was the. Oh, really? Oh, wow. They're becoming YouTubers every day.
That's funny. That was funny.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gee, that's fascinating.
I heard that I think Michelle Ferrari was having a rough time in her riding as well. I was in Peterborough the other day and I live streamed that rally with Pierre, and it was a pretty good turnout. And there was actually only one protest, I guess, heckler that was across from where the rally was in favor of the Liberal candidate. So it didn't look like she had that much support, but apparently Michelle's in a bit of a tough pickle there.
What's it looking like, Josh?
Yeah, Michelle's second place behind by about 7,000 votes.
Wow. How much of the polls are reporting in that one?
282 of 308.
How many people because so far I've seen quite a few of Liberal candidates who I very much thought were going to lose their ridings that haven't. So it's really interesting to me that there's been a couple really strong ones on the Conservative front that are really, really loyal, good members to the party by all accounts, who are at risk of or have lost their ridings versus the Liberals. It's like all of these like awful people, and not awful from my own bias. Like you've had awful policies that have had terrible results for your community, that are like winning. And I'm just
Darren Fisher.
I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah, it comes back down to what we were talking about with Mark Nixon. Like fear apparently was a huge motivator when we see these voting results, right? People legitimately believe Trump is going to do something to him.
Well, there's like well-known psychological experiments on the fact that human beings will, risk more to keep what they have than they will to actually gain something. It's like they fear losing something so much more than the possibility of getting something better. And I think we're seeing that play out in real time, where people are so worried about, the possibility of us becoming the 51st
Well,
state.
remember what happened in 2021?
Yeah, exactly.
We had another fear. Liberals won. This year, another fear. Liberals won. Right?
Well,
like it works. Sure, I understand it. There's probably more behind that as well, but
it's like I said before, like the Liberals were searching for their big bad. Like they thought that they were going to make it out of Diagolon. They thought they were going to make it out of Pierre. They couldn't make it out of those two characters. And then when Donald Trump steps on the scene, they're like, that's it. We got our big bad. Perfect.
What are all of your predictions in terms of so liberal minority, Donald Trump? What does that look like to you? Because that'll be the number one priority, right?
Yeah.
So what's the prediction?
I think capitulation will happen to a degree.
I forget what that word means.
It means that he's going to give in to all the demands because we literally can't do anything about it.
You're the only person I've ever met who uses that word.
Capitulate?
And both times you've used it now, I've had to ask for a clarification because I keep forgetting what it means.
Friend.
Thank you.
Chrystia Freeland also uses that word.
Does she? Oh,
that's where I learned it from, actually.
Oh, no.
Let me be clear.
The capitulation.
Yeah. But I think that's what's going to happen.
The nation.
Because like, if you look at any
But what does that mean?
economist,
What does that look like?
It means that they're going to essentially negotiate USMCA. They're going to give into all of Donald Trump's demands. What's going to happen? The only thing that they will protect is like the agricultural sector, like our
dairy
and stuff like that.
Dairy
that will be protected. But I think they will.
They're going to protect our agriculture sector. What about the 100% Chinese tariffs?
Oh, don't talk about
They
China.
don't care about that.
No, we don't know. No China here.
Elbows up for China.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. So that's kind of what I think we'll see there. But like, I think there will be some given on our banking sector. I think there could be something happen there.
I don't think so. I think the banking sector won't be touched.
I don't think they're going to have a choice.
You don't think?
No.
Okay, but again, elaborate more.
Yeah.
It's because there's the amount of pressure that Trump can put on us in very different sectors. It's like, okay, you don't want to give in. Okay, then we'll put tariffs on this. We'll do this here, this, and here. Yes, you're going to give tariffs on us that will impact 10% of our economy. We're going to put tariffs on you that will impact 80% of your economy.
Yeah.
Who's going to last, and how are you going to get by, Mr. Carney, when you have a minority government? People are going to get mad. Parliament's going to get wild. What are you going to do? So
see, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think our banking system is big enough for them to care as much about that. I think that they're looking for nation building materials. And when they were trying to negotiate critical minerals from Ukraine as a part of their, them coming in saving the day kind of thing, I think that he's looking at Canada going, you're a whole hell of a lot closer. The Ring of Fire is just up there. I think that it'll be like, you're going to send us your critical minerals at a discount and get us the things that we need to lead in the manufacturing of chips and the manufacturing of AI and robotics. And you're going to do it while also providing us discounted fuel, discounted energy.
Would that not backfire on the Liberals, though?
Oh, 100%.
Man, this is going to be so entertaining and horrible, but entertaining.
I just look at it. I'm like, God help us.
Well, it seems so obvious, right? But yet so many, you're just awake in a sea full of zombies.
Yeah. Like I look at what Donald Trump is doing right now and people are like, he's not going to bring back manufacturing jobs. I'm like, yes and no. Like he'll bring back those manufacturing plants, but if they're going to rebuild them, they're going to be rebuilt with the most state-of-the-art robots and AI that money can buy.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be humans that are going to be working.
It'll be totally different. Well, that's even, there's a shoot, where is this? There's somewhere that my brother was telling me about that Elon Musk has been interested in buying. And it's this wonderful investment, lots of money, but it's almost like a one-time payment because his whole plan is not to have a large human presence in this mine. And obviously the public, due to, TDS, is quite upset about the fact that Elon Musk is interested in trying to get it all canceled. But
for sure. We have a super chat coming from the Kavraka podcast. Kashal says, look at the 905 area, Josh. I told you the CPC was mismanaging it and is going to bite them in the ass. And so that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. And yeah, there was a lot of opportunity for them to really go after the 905 area, especially with the Sikh and Hindu stuff that was going on. They would have actually been able to turn out the Hindu community in a huge way. And the Hindu community did not come out because they did not feel protected by the Conservative Party.
Wow.
So
well, that was another thing they kept talking about was why Pierre even bothered going to Saskatchewan when he knew that was a solid thing. Like he could have taken that time to visit the 905 a little bit more or some of these other, but again, it's 2020, hindsight's 2020 and kind of.
Yeah. With some of these diaspora communities, the camera's on me, right? Just make sure this one stays on me for this part. The Khalistan issue has been a very significant problem within the Sikh and Hindu communities. No party's even touching it. That was an opportunity for the Conservative Party to actually wedge in there and actually steal some of the 905 ridings, and they wouldn't. They decided to not. And there was some shadiness going on, especially in, I think it was Abbotsford in BC, where there was some shadiness happening in the Conservative Party and how they're dealing with candidates and how they were selecting their candidates. And which left a huge distaste in the mouth of Hindus, that they decided, you know what, they protest voted for the PPC instead, from what I was told, and that's what I was informed of. And so I think that's what we're seeing here. There's a lot of mismanagement in there within that community, and it just took someone to have some courage, and there was none, unfortunately, in that case. So, and I'll leave that at that. Unless, Mike, you have something to say about that.
I mean, the 905 was already going to be tough for them regardless, but yeah, I do agree with you with the mismanagement of a lot of the candidates that they had. There was that the guy that was pretty much a shoo-in who ended up going independent because they decided to bring in that like 24-year-old guy who had no experience. Nobody knew him. What was the even point of that? And they just basically shot themselves in the foot with a lot of these other candidates. You had a lot of coverage of these people that thought they were a shoo-in, kind of like a Ruby Dalla situation where they thought they were going to happen and then just kind of pulled right out of the rug got pulled right out of them. And they immediately went to the media and just was like giving how upset they were about it. So yeah, I don't know. A bit of misstep for sure.
For sure. Yeah. So, I'm sure that's the thing is like both sides, especially, some liberals will celebrate if they end up kind of pulling out some version of a minority government, but it also isn't going to be what they want. Like at this point, a minority government for the liberals, if they kind of go sub 160 seats, is not a win for them.
Yeah.
That is a win for the conservatives. And so regardless, both sides are going to be like, oh, we could have done this better. We could have done that better. We'll see what happens. I don't think Poilievre's going anywhere. I think he'll stay on and move forward, and I think we will. I'm still very strong, very bullish on us seeing another election before the year's out.
I think as well, Poilievre, I know that traditionally speaking, if you don't win, there is an internal leadership race. That's just how things go. Having said that, I think when it comes to popular vote, when it comes to the base, when it comes to all of those things, Pierre Poilievre was above and beyond. And so, just a few months ago, in terms of popular vote, and yes, there were a lot of factors into there, he was sitting at, what was it, like 42%? It was outrageously high. It was amazing. And the reason why that dropped wasn't because of Poilievre. It was due to these external factors of things that came in and changed, and other parties being like, oh, we can really use this to our advantage. Typical political strategy and games there, right? So I have a very hard time believing that, especially with a minority government from the Liberals, when you have the Bloc and you have the CPC, I have a very hard time believing that Poilievre would actually step down as a leader. By all accounts, it seems that he has a lot of support from his base, and it's possible to get back there again. And there's also a lot of support from other people like the Bloc who just they're tired of this.
Yeah, but the problem is that your establishment Tories and your red Tories, they don't like Poilievre. So I think that there might be a bit of a struggle.
Like who?
Internally.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Obviously, the red ones I'm familiar with, but in terms of that, like, are you referring to?
So I don't want to give away any sources.
Can you just give us a rhyme, like the name that rhymes with?
So I just don't want to. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Can you just do this and whisper it just so I know? Nobody else has to know.
We'll talk about it in a second.
Oh, but I want to know
but
now.
Basically, what I'm saying is I think that there's folks that are really looking at this going, and they have come out and supported Poilievre in person. But I think in the back, they're going, when is this guy going so I can have my chance to run?
Oh, gosh.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Does it rhyme with mug doored?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Well, there was something that Moose said today where if Doug
I
Ford
watched it.
even attempts to go forward with that, we're just going to decimate the guy.
Oh, that's the worst move imaginable that Ford could do, I think. I don't think that would be successful. Oh my gosh, there's secrets.
Him and a couple other people, but mostly Atlantic Canadians.
Yeah. Oh, I want to know.
You will know. I'll tell you one. But before I do that, Mike, we're gonna say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It was good chatting with you. Stay strong in Oshawa, and keep hustling on. It takes all of us to continue push messaging forward and trying to get as much out as we can that the establishment tries to hide. So thank you so much for all your work.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And again, congratulations, Josh, on the newborn.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the Dad Club.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
And you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me, and I appreciate it.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir. So,
all right, take it easy, guys.
Yeah, you too. So we saw this ticked me off, man. This man was so lucky that I was witnessing the birth of my child when Tim Houston put out a campaign-style ad about, I'm Nova Scotian. Look at all the things. I was like, this seems weird. This seems odd. What is this about? I mean, cool. It's kind of cute. And then I was like, oh my gosh, he's going for Pierre Poilievre's spot. That's what this was. And I was like, this jabroni, I'm going to light this guy up. If I could, I will cut this guy's legs out from underneath him before he even gets to shoot at a federal spot. Because this guy's done a lot of shady things on this end to anyone who gets in his way, causes any issues, and I quite frankly do not even want to see him get near the federal seat. He's been decent for Nova Scotia. He's done some decent things, but he's not been great. He's been kind of soft. He's been doing stupid stuff. As soon as I saw him and Mr. Ford get on the same boat about the 51st state BS, I was like, oh, you're one of those conservatives. That's not really conservative. I got it. You are a bunch of neocons. I have no interest in it. So yeah, that would have been my monologue if I was doing videos during that time.
But you weren't.
But I wasn't. But they got it tonight instead.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, especially since projected right now, all of Nova Scotia is going red except for the Annapolis Valley.
Ugh. Weak.
Gee.
Womp womp.
This is definitely like it's the tight is less tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got elected right now, Liberals 119, Conservatives. I said that's so weird. Conservatives 113. Still close, still very close. Bloc 18, NDP 1, Green 1.
Yeah.
Green, they got one.
Green what? They had two.
Praise be.
Where are they
Blessed
at?
be the fruit.
The green?
I don't know. Josh is the one who has the cool thing. Again, as I said before, I didn't get the laptop memo, so I'm here on my crappy little cell phone.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't do like.
But if I forget my charger, by the way, I am going to be mad.
She's never coming back.
I'll have to come get it.
Yeah.
I'll mail it to you. It's all good, dude.
The shipping costs, my goodness, with carny taxes, come on.
We
never
can
afford that.
We can bring down that anger because 2 Flips for 5 Twists says, love the 4 of you. I watch you all every day. Jasmin, Queen, we have the same eye roll because we grew up in the same town.
Oh, you must know each other.
I don't know. I grew up in a couple different towns, but my family flipped houses. So what was the username?
2 Flips for 5 Twists.
Yeah, not a hot clue who that is. Now I want to know.
But they know because you were flipping houses and their screen name has a flip in it.
Oh my gosh. Mom, what are you doing?
Oh, it's Mom.
It's Mom. That's awesome though. That's fun.
Dude, we're doing pretty decent, I'd have to say, man. We got close to 4,000 viewing on our channel. You have close to 4,300 on yours, Jasmin.
Really?
And then you have over 9,000 on X right now.
Woo! That's great. I haven't actually checked any of those numbers. Thank you, obviously. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you're enjoying the coverage that you're getting. I'm actually shocked I haven't looked at any of those numbers.
Yeah.
It's been so busy. I've barely even been on X scrolling through anything. That's wild.
Yeah, it's we're kind of hitting that point right in the night where we're getting pretty close to we're getting an idea of where this is all going to land. Right now we have again projected and actually elected seats together. We have the Liberals at 161, Conservatives at 150. It's still, the one thing you got to keep an eye out for is the NDP and the Greens. They will team up to join the Liberals. So that's right now 9 seats that would go to 170. Still not enough to move anything in the House of Commons. But the 150 and 23 block Quebecois,
that's enough.
That is enough.
That would get you there.
So it's we'll see. We'll keep moving forward, man. Like
that's the thing that's interesting about this too, is because previously the Liberals had enough with everybody else to be able to do the things that they wanted to do. And we're not actually seeing that right now with who would partner with them. Having said that, is it possible perhaps that the bloc ends up changing their mind and goes towards a Carney? Doubtful. Possible.
It is possible depending on how much Carney promises Quebec. Because if he gets on the phone and
says, they're going to know how serious that is, right?
Yeah.
Which is like for us as people who observe this stuff all the time, I think will be very obvious and very disappointing. And that's not going to be a good feeling if we see that, just based on what we've heard up until this point. And if that changes dramatically, you're going to know. You're not stupid. You're going to know that something happened there, and that's going to be disappointing for all of us and put us into a pretty hopeless, helpless feeling situation. But very interesting how this is shaping up, though. I mean, minority government for the Liberals. I'm just like, what are we going to be able to do here in the meantime? Like, there are some pretty serious things, some very serious issues, and it's gonna collapse.
Yeah,
it absolutely will.
Totally see a possibility where the bloc joins up with the Liberals, because I can see Mark Carney getting on the phone with them and saying, listen, we'll stop all the immigration into Quebec with the asylum seekers. We will up your OAS. We will give you basically everything you've asked for and more. Just keep us in power. And Blanche has already said, he's like, I don't care about Canada. I care about Quebec. And if they do that, I mean, Blanchet would be a fool to say no to that because he is Quebec through and through. He's like, I'm the prime minister of Quebec, basically. And you're the prime minister of Canada.
He's the king of Quebec.
Yeah,
He's the king of Quebec.
So he's looking at this
King Blanchet.
He's looking at this from a Quebec lens. So
Yeah.
I totally see Carney.
Isn't that also like,
Yeah.
I'm getting tired now. So I'm just, you know,
Filters are off.
but like, isn't that actually the most insane thing to think about? That there is a party running not for the country. Like that's
Yes.
crazy. And I'm like, I
Yes.
understand what's happening with Blanchet. I understand the Quebec movement. Like I get the movement. What is
The
this?
movement.
Sorry, I'm like saying this like this is like some freaking program in high school. Like, are you coming to the drama club? But like, I understand what's happening in Quebec. I understand that very well. But how crazy is it that you like that's crazy. That
Yeah.
would never fly anywhere else. That doesn't exist. Where else does that exist? Honestly,
Nowhere.
I can't think of
It's
anywhere. Perhaps there's somewhere, but nowhere's coming to mind right now where something like that is around and voted for. Like that's what?
That'd be like if California threw its own party into, the United States and then was like, oh, by the way, but we don't want the presidency.
Like that would never happen.
People would just be like, cool, thanks, bye.
And don't get me wrong, I like Blanchet overall. I think he does indeed want the best for Quebecers, and he's hilarious and he's very direct. It's one of the things I love very much about French people. But like that is actually really crazy to know. And I think also too, it opens up a doorway for there to be so much dishonesty and corruption. And I'm not accusing anybody of being that at this moment in time, but it certainly does open up a doorway for that when you have the ability to okay, you'll give me what I want. Great, cool. I'll give you what you want then. Like that's not democracy. Actually, what that is that's a party who's kind of just there just in case, and then, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Okay. I'll help you out. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Like that doesn't feel democratic to me in the slightest. And it's a shame, I would say.
Yeah, well, it's one province out of the 13 ruling over the rest.
Yeah,
is what it is.
It's bizarre
because they hold the balance of power because they can either bring you down or build you up. So, and they know it.
So I want to have. I think to go off of what you guys are talking about, I want to inject this into the issue because this is starting to complicate things. So we have 47 and 266 polls reporting out of Carleton, and Poilievre is now trailing by 1,400 votes.
Wow.
trailing.
Yeah. So again, we'll watch once it hits more like 100 polls reporting, we'll get a better idea of what's happening. But that is something to behold. If say the votes or the seats hold up as they are currently, what do the Conservatives then do?
If he doesn't win his seat, he's gone.
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
Which is dang. It's funny that, like the crazy far left are gonna be so pumped about that.
You know what, though? I'll be honest. I had somebody, I'm going to go off again here. Oops.
There you go.
But I had somebody today comment on something that I had shared on YouTube. And they had said, like, oh, are you all just going to cry if Poilievre doesn't win? And I was like, no, that's ridiculous.
That's what you guys do.
What? But that's the thing, again, where it really does, like, it's very sad to see the state of our country and the state of all of the division out there in terms of, like, having like a deep satisfaction that you got your way or a deep satisfaction. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, if Poilievre were to win, I'd be pumped. Of course I would, but I'm not pumped selfishly for me because it's going to hurt somebody else. I'm pumped because I really truly believe that it's going to help everybody else in ways that they don't even realize because they're so used to this machine. And, I'm not God. I'm not any of those things, but when it just comes down to policies and numbers, those things, and I've really taken my time to go through all of the platforms and to understand them well, and to unfortunately read Mark Carney's book. And I've really taken the time to do that, to have a good ground and a good understanding of things. And the reason why I am so pro-conservative is because that makes sense and it seems like the best possible option, versus like there's just so much vitriol and so much hate, and it's really disappointing to like want the worst for people because you don't like them, because why?
Yeah. Clyde in the chat says, I think the term is
Hi, Clyde.
Shout out Clyde. The other two, there's another storyline to think about, similar storyline to 2021, is the fact that the Liberals are winning the popular vote by only 100,000 votes right now. You know, like that's saying something there too, man. So it's this. I have to admit, I love drama. I love storylines, and as much as this is not the storyline I wanted. It's the storyline that we Canadians deserve. And let's go, baby.
It's a wild night.
It's
been a roller coaster. Holy crap. It's like, holy crap, we got this. Nope, it's going this way. Oh, it's back up this way. So it has been a roller coaster.
Yep. Yeah. So I think where we'll end, I think it'll probably settle around, I think Liberals at probably 160, Conservatives at 150, 152-ish. And then, Bloc will be the kingmakers.
I wanted to just add as well an update here that this is actually the best result of the Conservative Party in Canada in 14 years since Harper's majority in 2011.
Wow.
So
fascinating.
Did you guys both just say that at the same time?
No.
What did you say?
I said, wow. And he said, fascinating.
I'm hallucinating. I'm sleep deprived, I think.
I think we all are.
Oh, man. We have to shut her down here soon.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it probably a 15, 20 more minutes till at least 1:30, and we can call it there. Because I think we're getting to a point where we're going to get an idea of where this stands. A lot of these ridings are getting solidified now. And it's just really the GTA that's going to be a while to verify, but GTA has gone fully red so far. So surprise.
I would like to see more of Carleton. I'd like to see what happens there.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'd like to get at least 100 polls from Carleton. Before it's not looking good, man. It's that's a wild storyline, man. I have to admit that he's now down by 1,500 votes now. It's increasing. You think Polya will swing, but because you said he was like it was a 90% sure
96% is what it said yesterday. Yeah,
dude. There's been a lot of chaos.
Well, and also keep in mind though, again, you have those advance votes as well. Millions of them that need to be counted tonight, right?
Right.
So those only started getting counted an hour and a half ago, roughly 2 hours ago, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you have those as well, especially when it's like riding specific and what
Perfect. Yeah. I totally agree with that. And we actually have one last guest for the night. Our friend, Jennifer L.
My girl. She's not
Welcome.
my girl at all, actually, but whatever. That was weird. I'm sorry I said that.
Can she hear us?
Can I come back? I want to join on my computer. I didn't know it was a Google link.
Oh,
yeah.
Got it. Go for it.
Get out of here.
That's
Professional.
Yeah, no problem. Do your thing.
Okay.
While we're waiting there, David Lewowski says, if Pierre loses his seat, then he should move back to Alberta. Smith, Pierre, and Harper all in one province would be a powerhouse. Smith was on Japanese news saying that she wants to 2x trade with them.
Could you imagine those through the same province? Just giving the screws to Ottawa?
I'd be moving to Alberta. I think that'd be fun.
I wonder how much interprovincial migration you'll see.
You know what's funny? That's one thing that we actually didn't discuss much tonight, but that's been on my mind a little bit because there's obviously been so much chatter about that, and it's hard to kind of discern between the noise and what's actually going on. But yeah, that's that's interesting.
That's interesting. Jennifer L, are you back?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Welcome back.
How was APTN?
It was good. It was hard to hide my facial expressions.
Same here. I think we got ourselves in trouble at various points tonight. So I hear you. But
oh, no way. Yeah.
But the thing I love about you, Jenny, I don't know. What are we going by here these days? Is the fact that you do such a good job of breaking things down. So, and I know you have a very different perspective on these types of issues. I know you've been not too impressed with how things have been going through this campaign. What is your take on where things are at currently in the electoral results?
I think we're seeing division more than we've ever seen. I genuinely don't know how we are going to reconcile this. I think there's a number of really big issues we have to talk about, and that's the fact that after 9 years, the mandate wasn't strong enough for the Conservative Party to form a majority government. And there's that conversation around President Donald Trump that's probably watching this right now being like, nice, they're fractured. Now's my moment. Mm-hmm. So it's like, shit, you guys, like we could have picked something to like protect ourselves a little bit, but instead we're like, no, we're all divided. Come on in. So I'm a little concerned about that, but
I think that's a fair statement. I get that. Reg?
Yeah, I'm right with you, honestly. It's like, it's playing out exactly kind of what we thought, where it's just, this country is so at odds with itself, where people are just so angry with each other, and people have made this election into like an election of morality, where it's like, if you don't agree with me, then somehow you're an evil person. Like, it just, to me, I've lost friends and I've gained friends because people are like, yes, you agree with me, so therefore we're, besties. And I'm like, okay, like more friends the better. But then other people were like, I'm sorry, I saw that you posted a pro-conservative thing, so therefore I need to cut you out of my life to save my energy. I'm like, what?
What's that mean?
This is wild.
Absolutely. And I know, Jennifer, you've been doing a great job. I know you, at least from our conversations, you really take a lot of pride in being a bridge, someone who can bring people together. And so I think the idea of you hitting on the idea of division in this country, I think is, very, is very true to you. So since you've been spending a lot of time on both sides of the aisle, where do you think is the biggest divide you find?
I think, we have to ask ourselves, like, political strategy is more than just what we're seeing on the internet, and I say that as somebody that has quite literally worked within politics, is we have to ask ourselves whether or not we're helping the cause, or we're actually driving the cause away. And that is something that my conservative MP that I worked for actually taught me. He taught me the value of, representing everybody and making sure that your voice is being heard, even to people that you might disagree with the most. And I think, that is my hot take away from this is, are there people that are legitimately being scared away from voting conservative? Because there are pieces of the conservative movement that are things that you don't want to align with, and that's just the cold, hard truth. And then there's that piece where the old conservatism is there, where it's like, okay, I want less taxes, smaller government, I want law and order, I want government to stay out of my business, and I want that statesman and that diplomacy back, but we're not getting it out of some politicians and some people that are driving the movement. And so we're all going to have to look internal after this election and be like, what is it that I might be doing that drove a liberal government back into power?
Yeah.
It's actually funny that you say that. And these are like conversations I've had privately with so many people, of just other people who, because like, it's so bizarre being in this space. And I like to consider myself to be like fairly grounded, fairly rational. I have my moments, but fairly grounded, fairly rational. And there's actually like a handful of people that I can think of off the top of my head who I don't even follow on social media, even though some of them are like big people, and like I don't follow them because I actually don't like how they represent themselves. I don't like what they're doing in terms of the attention perhaps that they're drawing to being conservative, because it's a version that I don't align with, and it's one that I don't agree with. And of course, we're all open to having those exact same ideas, but I do think that is something, and not even just for being a conservative or whatever. It really just comes down to, and this is something I just say so frequently, but like when you have way too much pride or way too much ego, then you kind of get lost in that, and you can start behaving in ways that aren't, I don't know, they're a little unbecoming, right? And it might actually do more harm than good. And it's like, well, yeah, sure, you might get a lot of views, you might get a lot of likes on that video, people might share it, some people might think it's funny, but what is the goal that you're actually trying to attain by these things? And I think I've certainly noticed as well, over this election period, like a number of people who I just don't align with them anymore. And I'm like, that's just interesting. Like, I don't shame you. You live your best life, bud. But like, that's interesting. I just don't align with you. And I think it is certainly going to be a moment of reflection for people, if they're capable of having it at the very least, for all of us to kind of, where did I go wrong? Where could I have gone better? What does this look like? How do we move forward? Most importantly, because at the end of the day, the Conservative Party of Canada, especially, in 2025, it's not some crazy archaic thing. I think it's a lot of people who love their country a lot and care a lot, and are really hurting. And the reason why they speak out about it is because they're hurting so bad. But how do you translate that message into a way where maybe even people who aren't hurting as bad as you can understand where you're coming from, instead of being clouded by this the stigma of what it is to be conservative that simply just does not really seem to exist, at least in most bubbles in the country these days.
And Jen, one of the things I wanted to ask you too about, because I know that you've oftentimes been like, vote for who you want. Like, this is who I'm voting for. This is what I believe. And, as you said before, we've also heard from Jasmin too, around this idea of like parties not perfectly representing us and not perfectly aligning with our ideas and things like that. You did a really good breakdown of both the platforms. And I'm wondering, from an Indigenous perspective, like when you look at the two platforms, which do you think was stronger for that community?
I think the Liberal Party of Canada, I've been frustrated with Justin Trudeau for the last number of years. And there's been areas where they definitely could have worked on things. But the Liberal Party of Canada under Justin Trudeau has done more for reconciliation than any other political party has. And that's just the cold hard reality. I can't sit here and lie to people and say that that's not the truth when it is. But the issue is that there's been big strides that have been made under the Liberal banner, including, introducing water legislation. Bill C-92, which is the closest to sovereignty we've ever been, was seen under a Liberal government. And now we have autonomy and jurisdiction over our own kids. So I can't sit here and say, oh, they did nothing or they're terrible, when there has been areas that have been great. But on the other side of the spectrum, there's also been things that have greatly, greatly impacted us. When cost of living is out of control, who are the people that are most affected? Canada's most marginalized community, which are First Nations. When addictions are running rampant, what happens? When housing is short, what happens? Like, there's a lot of areas where there's also been incredible shortfalls. They've ballooned the bureaucracy. They've spent more money than Stephen Harper has fighting our people in court. So it's always one of those areas where I'm like, don't go so quick to support any of these political parties if you're Indigenous, because it's a double-edged sword on one end of the spectrum or the other.
Yeah, and something else I wanted to bring up here, one of the super chats brings in a really interesting take that I want to get your take on. Space Dave 2000 says, how much more like the Liberals do Conservatives want to become, though? Whether we like it or not, this election proves that Canada's far left. What do you think of that?
I actually love that conversation because I'm a political scientist by trade. I have studied political theory very, very heavily. I actually have a book from Thomas Hobbes right here because I wanted people to know what happens when we lose law and order. Go read Hobbes' take on what happens when we lose law and order. But it's actually, that's not true. The political spectrum isn't linear in the sense that it doesn't move, because it does. But people are often forgetting that there have been leaders throughout time who have been incredibly successful in securing government while not being too far left or too far right. And, the Honorable late John Diefenbaker is one of them. His picture is always behind me for a reason. John Diefenbaker was seen as a populist in his time, but he wasn't a populist in modern context. He was a populist in the sense that he was able to unite everybody and appeal to the common man, and also say, hey, we don't want big government. We don't want those big elite circles. I want to support the average rural folk, the hardworking Canadian. But at the same time, John Diefenbaker had a lot of respect for our institutions. He had a lot of respect for believing in what government can do and not undermining democracy. So there was that healthy balance of what John Diefenbaker was capable of doing without, there is ways to be progressive and also be a conservative in a sense where you are not anti-government as well, because we are seeing that rise in the conservative movement as well, where they want to throw government out the window too, and that's like, no, let's not go there.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm curious from, you brought up Diefenbaker there, which obviously, as you said, it was a different time. And on that note, what do you think what role social media played during this election in that whole populist movement, and at least of what we see in this day and age? Do you think it, obviously we know it divided more people likely, but did it play any other roles from your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. Digital campaigning is becoming the new era of campaigning. And we saw that in the United States with Donald Trump. He was bringing on massive TikTokers, but he wasn't bringing on super polarizing political commentators into his campaign. He was bringing in TikTokers and content creators that were already kind of in with the kids in a way where they were popular before politics. Meaning, like, you're seeing Bryce Hall, you front and center. Bryce Hall is not a political commentator. Bryce Hall did have political opinions, but Bryce Hall already had a platform outside of politics and was kind of universally hated and liked by large groups of people. But we're seeing, and I've even been seeing that where it's like, 5-6 years ago when I was working in politics, half these people didn't exist, and now it's getting bigger and bigger. And I've had conversations with MPs who are like, our message is getting drowned out by conservative commentators who think they're helping, but they're actually saying we're doing stuff we didn't do because they like that idea, or promoting things we normally wouldn't promote, and undermining democracy and questioning government, and like doing things that they don't realize is pumping up their base, but they're actually hurting the party and driving accessible voters away.
What do you think is that bridge, though, to the accessible voter that you're talking about?
I don't know. Like, what do you mean? My brain's like, I'm like, why would you ask that?
Come on, Raj,
what
what are
is
you
the
doing?
bridge?
It's because it's the truth. Like when I talk to the people that are in my circles that I would see as being the accessible voter, they're just like, when I see blue, I see evil, and that's all I can think about. And I'm like, and you're the moderate, like, you know. And so I feel like it's so hard to get through to people because they've got this association because of what they're seeing online and what they're seeing from others. And it's just like this idea that if you vote conservative, that you hate the LGBTQ plus group, you hate women, you hate freedom, you hate the CBC, you hate you hate. And like, that's what they associate with the Conservative Party, is just hatred. And so when you tell people that you're going to be voting conservative, a lot of times they're like, oh, I didn't realize that secretly you closetly hate everyone. Like that's what they look at you like. And so I'm like, what is the bridge issue? Because I feel like Pierre, one of the things he did really well was he went around to all these workers. He went around to all these sites that, you know, were forgotten by the elites to actually like go talk to people on the ground. And it's like trying to talk to that common person. And so I'm like, if that doesn't work, what is the thing that works in this country?
I think part of the problem is when you're not giving people that definitive stance on things, where when you are aligning with people that you don't want to align with, and then you're having a really hard time when you're in the middle and you're like, well, I kind of need their votes and I need their votes, so I can't call them out, but I also can't call these people out. And it's like, well, that's I think where you get that problem, is because people don't feel comfortable coming back to the table and saying, no, this politician actually doesn't stand for that. Here's my proof. Instead, you're like, well, I don't know if they stand for it because no one is actually saying otherwise. So I think it puts people in this really weird position where they're like, do I align with this or do I not align with it? And I think there would have been a lot of people at the ballot box today who said one thing on social media and then went and voted for another, saying like conservatives are awful, but then got to the ballot and they were like, well, I can't afford a house, and then just, you know.
Yeah. We're also seeing in the chat that they're saying that Pierre Poilievre lost his seat. So
Officially?
I don't know. That's what they're saying in the chat. Or do we have an actual official count on that?
I have some text messages.
Well, let's see.
I'm not going to share all of the details of such with you guys. I am a very trustworthy person, but I think it's going to be just fine.
Okay.
They're going to figure it out. It's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
I sorry, just before you jump in.
yeah.
There's something I deeply need to apologize for.
What's that?
We have only once tonight thanked Build It by Day podcast.
Oh, man.
We are the worst human beings.
Oh,
But
no.
I want you to do this, folks. Please do this. Ryan, can you go to my screen for a second here? Sorry, give me 2 seconds there, Jennifer.
So Builder by Day podcast.
Can you just say that I'm rational one more time so I could bring my husband over here? I'm like, because
It was glitching. Sound is good now, they're saying.
If only we knew sign language.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay. So one thing that I'm very curious about with this is, and again, everything about this is just so peculiar, and like to the point where I have a really hard time hypothesizing about what's to come. So Mark Carney has his ethics and conflicts of interest disclosures that have to be released within the next 3 months. What do we think about all of that? Like in terms of a lot of his party pledges and the things that he wants to do, that, you know, if there's all these screens and all these ethics things that are supposed to be set up for him due to his conflicts, like what does that look like? Do you think that will actually have an impact at all? Anybody can answer that, by the way.
I don't know. I think that we've already seen so many examples of Mark Carney lying or having conflicts, and people just seem to like brush it off. Like the mental pretzeling that I've seen around this is just incredible. Like people doing backflips to rationalize.
Bath clips, I like that.
Yeah.
You know you're tired when you start when Reg tries to pull a bath clip.
Yeah. Getting that little dyslexia out there. But yeah, just doing backflips to try and rationalize some of these things that are just like really poor behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I remember asking my liberal friend, being like, when you see this, what does that make you feel? And she's like, oh, well, you know, just, it's not great, but like, honestly, we have such bigger things to deal with. It's not even a big deal. And like, this shows that this person cannot be trusted with the big deal if they can't even handle the small deal. And they're just like, nope, it's, we got bigger fish to fry. So I honestly, even if they came out and said, you know, Mark Carney has personally embezzled, you know, $1 billion of Canadian taxpayer dollars into his own investment account, they'd be like, well, that's the price of doing business for Canada. I just don't think that they'd see that and they'd be moved by that. I don't know. Jen, do you think something different?
I wanted to go back to, my brain is complete mush right now, but yeah, I don't know how to like rationalize all of this. Back to Mark Carney's assets and stuff. It is a very different process once you become an elected member of parliament. Obviously, there's an entire process set out for that. I don't even know if he would be able to go through the ethics and stuff and assets disclosures unless he's actually physically an elected member of parliament, and then that process begins. But I think he was also waiting to see if he would win his seat, because there is a lot of stuff you have to disclose. And there's also going to probably be boards and organizations that he's affiliated with that he's going to have to resign from and distance himself from. And he probably didn't want to make all of those decisions unless he knew he was going to win his seat. At the end of the day, like, ask yourself what you would do. You're like, am I going to quit everything that's keeping the bank full? Unless there's like an absolute for sure certainty that I'm heading to parliament. Like, I'm not saying I would do that. I'm a completely honorable person that would never. Plus, I also don't have that many assets to disclose anyways, so I shouldn't even be entering this conversation.
I have a bag of mini eggs.
Oh man.
Yeah. So we're looking at, oh yeah, actually I'll ask you this one last question here, Jennifer, and then we're just gonna shut down the show altogether after this. So we have 90 of 266 polls reporting Carleton. And you have Poilievre that's dropping about 1,600 votes behind Bruce Fanjoy. What do you think happens if we have this current scenario and Poilievre is not leading or loses his seat?
If he loses his seat, he may resign tonight. If he doesn't lose his seat, he may stay on as leader, and then he'll face an automatic leadership review at the next convention because it's in the Constitution.
Gee. Wow.
Interesting.
There you have it, folks.
I'm just going to give you a couple super chats here. That ridiculous ballot in Pierre's riding did not help. How many ballots got thrown out because they weren't folded properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. What was it, 91?
Yeah.
Yeah, 91.
How? 91 independents. Really?
Yeah. No, it's just insane. And somebody else said, I lost the super chat now, but I remember what it said. They basically said that we love you all, but Alberta can't take you all because it's getting too expensive here. And I mean, that's the truth of it, right? Is that you can't all flee to another province because we don't like what we have in our own backyard. You have to you have to try and work with what you got.
Definitely. Absolutely. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us and being our last guest of the night. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
And you're an OG. We really appreciate you and all you've done for our show over the years. And stay strong. And you're the best.
Okay. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, folks.
129.
129. I just got a text from my wife being like, bro, I need to hand off this baby immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, I should probably get going.
Yeah,
So-
I'm looking at it going, I still have to get up like, 4 hours from now to get ready to go to work. So,
That is sickening.
so my day job is still, still going.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to bed tonight at all. So let's go.
Fair enough.
But this was awesome. You guys are great. This is probably where we're going to be sticking around. As I said, we're going to be heading around somewhere the 150 range for the Conservatives, 150, 153. Liberals will be like the 162 down to 158, 159. And Jugmeat, well, good, GG, buddy. It was fantastic. Y'all are amazing. And last, you saw the pinned message in the chat, and go subscribe to Builder by Day podcast. Thank you again so much for allowing us to use this amazing space. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for being superheroes. Anyways, have yourselves a good one. We're out.